the animals are not insured.
Yeah.
If you have comprehensive, then you can claim.
So only if you have comprehensive.
Yeah, but you claim your comprehensive.
Your comprehensive. Yeah.
I remember specifically, I could ask what the police are like when we talking about the coming in Hilux. I remember that I sit down by a bar and I watch a policeman reverse on my pocket.
I remember one now, Kurt.
Slowly.
One that I could talk about where I was actually wrong.
Wow. Okay.
So I was on the block. This is in St. Vincent, right?
Okay.
And I was hanging out. I was on the block.
Grown Folks Only Podcast.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Grown Folks Only Podcast. Tonight, we do Road Safety Part 2. Last time we discussed reasons for accidents, my personal reasons against manual versus automatic, and a couple other things. Tonight, we delve into the other aspect, insurance. Our guest tonight is Kacy. She's an insurance agent. Good evening.
Good evening.
So the people would like to know, or I'm sure there are questions people would have in terms of why the insurance premiums have gone so high, what are the things insurance companies use to calculate deductions or no claims bonuses or everything. So I hope you can help us with all these things this evening.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So the first question I'll pose to you, because I'm a member of the biking world and the car world and the taxi associations, I will hit you with the question, which is the more prominent one happening now. Why has motorcycle insurance gone up so high?
I think I want to reverse that question a little bit. Why do you think motorcycle insurance is so high?
Well, it's a Peter pay for Paul situation that we see it as. And I understand the way insurance works where you have to calculate your, what's the word they use again?
Premium.
Premium and your, there's a word insurance
Excess.
use. Not the excess, it's your risk factor. All right?
Yeah.
But if you get a young rider, I get you could charge him the 2.6 or the 2.8 it is now because he's fresh, more likely he hasn't proven himself. But what do you say for riders who've been riding for 20, 30 years who have never had an accident? Why do they still have to pay the same premium?
First of all, I don't think you pay the same premium because you would have discounts that would have grown over the years and they would have applied those discounts. So you don't pay the same premium as a person who's just starting insurance for the first time.
I beg to differ because I've had a conversation with a few guys who were paying $500 or $600 insurance. And now when they went to renew, the insurance company right now is a flat rate of $2,600 or $2,000.
So you're saying like they have a minimum bottom rate
That
which they have to
Yes.
decide?
Yeah. So right now there's a motor accident crisis in Saint Lucia. Yeah. We can call it a crisis right now because we have so many accidents happening every day. Actually, I got a report and in 2025 in Central Castries alone, so we're talking about from Marigo to about the Shock Roundabout, only in that vicinity, almost 2,000 accidents a year.
Fender benders and
Over-
stuff.
Yeah,
2025.
2,000.
Like
That's in
fender benders and
2025.
everything, right?
Yeah. So they've categorized it.
That will be
And
more
of
of
course,
a
it would
crisis.
seem so because every day you see accidents happening. But so on an average,
Friday, there was like 12 or 11 accidents in that one day alone. And about 2 or 3 of them were fatal.
yes.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Right. So when you have a situation like that, insurers now are forced to increase their premiums so that they can afford to pay for claims. And Peter has to pay for Paul because the way insurance works is that all the money goes into this one pool. Now, as long as you're going to have accidents constantly, you pull in so much out of that pool.
Right.
Now, on average, I would say to insure a vehicle, they usually charge about 10% of the value of the vehicle. And then they discount it so much at the end. So let's say you do 10% and sometimes they go as far as removing 60% off of that. So if we put that into context, let's say a vehicle is worth $10,000 and they charge you $1,000 and they remove 60% of that. You're only paying about $400.
Yeah.
How many years?
Comprehensive or footpath?
No, I'm just giving a hypothetical situation.
Okay.
So, so just to give you an idea of how how much insurance has to pay out as opposed to what they get in. So you're paying $400 for your insurance, but your vehicle costs $10,000. How many $400 do they have to receive before they can come up with that $10,000?
I understand that,
So taking so much money out of the pool, if you want to be able to pay for claims, you have to increase. And for motorcycles, because they would insure persons with a permit. With a permit, you have not undergone adequate training. And they would insure persons, and persons go and renew the permits, renew, and they never actually get the bike license, where you actually do the full training and you get examined and you pass your test to actually ride a motorcycle on the road freely. A permit means that you could only ride with an instructor. It doesn't mean that you get to go and ride everywhere like they do and cause so many problems. So
now, coming to what you said a while ago, I understand the whole aspect of insurance and how they all organize it, but the point still stands. Like, why not? Okay, say, all right, this is the minimum we're willing to insure a motorcycle for. This is the quantity of coverage you get. If you'd like to go back to your, previous premium, then we're going to have to lower our coverage to X amount, which means you are going to be liable for whatever is above that, or something, because it feels the guys who are actual riders, not the reckless guys that are causing all of this, they feel betrayed. Like being with an insurance company for 20, 25 years, starting off at $900 and now paying $500 or $600, and all of a sudden, with no warning, 1 year they go to $1,000, and the other year they went to $1,500, and now it's $2,800, and they're like, but I've never claimed, I've never had an accident, I've never had an issue. Why am I paying for everybody else's mistakes, where you shouldn't make the exemption for a few people who have proven themselves, just like cars? Because car insurances are not going up.
it is
Time
actually.
out. It is.
Not that drastically.
Yes, it's going
Yes.
up drastically.
It is.
I used to pay $500 for third party for my car. I think now it's like $800.
And some have gone
That's fine.
as far as
But from $600 or $700 to $2,800, as I said, that's a big gap. That's the point I'm bringing forward. $500 to $800 is fine.
Now,
$800 to $1,000 is fine.
Carol, I think you represent the minority of bike riders, because today alone I could count how many riders I see in the middle of the road.
Yes.
And
we have
when you
insuring,
Carol, when you're insuring your little bike, because it's a Maliway transport, it's the least you could get with a motor, 2 wheels, and just enough for you to go. When you're showing that little bike, and then me with my pickup, I pay a house price for on the road, and you run into my pickup, and then you fly and go to heaven, and you leave your family and your insurance company to deal with that mess. How do you justify that? You
but
just
the
throw
little
that
scooter
out.
will knock your pickup. It's like a fly hitting a window. It will do much damage.
Okay, let's look at a worst case scenario. The law states that in any accident, the maximum payout could be as far as $1.5 million.
Yeah, I know that.
So when you pay your little $2,000 and an insurance company then has to pay either $300,000 for bodily injury or $1.5 million, how do you justify that?
So, when your insurance cover note says what your maximums are and what have you, you saying by law the insurance company can be made to pay more than they actually have on the cover note, which they've signed for?
They can.
Okay.
It has happened before. So
That I didn't know.
every time an insurer gives somebody a cover note, they're at risk for this maximum amount potentially.
Okay.
So, it's not just about, I pay this amount and I've been paying this amount. It's the potential that they could pay out this amount.
Yeah, that
It only
makes a
takes
bit more
one
interesting.
accident to turn everything upside down.
Because I always thought legally your insurance document that you sign is a legal document that allows or offers the insurance enough coverage or ceiling, if you understand. But then if you're telling me that I have a third party that says it's $300,000 but they can still maybe possibly legally be made to pay 1.5 million,
depending on the case.
then that makes more sense.
Yeah, and that's what it
Understand?
is. So that's why insurers now have to safeguard themselves. Because remember, insurance is not a charity. It's a for-profit company. And I think people get that mixed up because when you talk about insurance, it's like, you know what? It's a charity or they have to act in accordance with how you feel. But it's a business at the end of the day and they're all meant to make a profit. So they're going to do what's in their best interest and not the insured's best interest.
Worse yet, if two vehicles collide and they're insured by the same company, that's
Which
a double
happens
whammy.
quite a bit.
Especially in some place like Saint Lucia with a accident crisis that's
Yes.
going on. So I have a question. I'm not sure if it applies, but do insurance companies usually invest the finances or the monies that they get from persons who they insure? Like, do you invest that money to make more money?
They have to.
Right. So all of that as well is also, in my mind, that's also a reasoning as to why the insurance pricing is going up as well. Because if you look at it, you're paying out way more. You don't have any liquid cash on hand because you are investing some of this.
For me, insurance is one of the most liquid businesses they have here.
Yeah, but I just asked a question to clarify my claim.
Okay.
Okay? And my claim is that even though they have the money, they don't have the money because they invest in the money to make more money, which is why I asked the question first. So I just wanted to clarify that. And now it makes perfect sense as to why some of the insurance prices are going up. And don't worry, I still dislike some insurances. Like, they're a bit shady with how they portray certain things to people. I'm not saying you, but but I just wish that sometimes people would break things down a bit more so people could understand in layman's terms what they're actually paying for. Because I think sometimes some people just pay it because they just need the insurance to get a vehicle on the road or their bike on the road or whatever, but they don't truly understand what is required of them if in case of an accident. Because there are times when I believe the insurance companies would advise the person who was involved in the accident not to make a claim because it would just make situations worse for everybody, not just the person who was in the accident, especially if the amount is below a certain threshold.
Below the deductible.
Right.
Yeah, so they have all these parameters in place to avoid people from claiming for minor.
Fender benders. That could be
so-
fixed on your own.
Right. So you don't come claiming for every little thing. It's also a measure of, having you to be safe, to drive safely and cautiously and not just do things haphazardly. Clearly, this is not the case in Saint Lucia because I see people doing madness on the road and I just don't understand how on a straight road you can end up on your back. I don't understand.
Automatic license. I said it in the last episode.
Nothing to do with automatic.
Automatic license. That's what it is. They don't know how to drive.
Okay,
It's
but
gas and
I
brakes.
have a serious question. Speaking of Femi's point with the breakdown, as a non-national who is about to purchase a vehicle, what would you recommend for me in terms of, getting that vehicle and the insurance policy that I should look into? What's needed by me?
Okay, it depends on so many different things. Are you looking for third-party insurance? Are you looking for comprehensive insurance?
Friends, I've had a very bad experience with third party in Trinidad, so let's just
Good looking out, because I was going to tell you.
leave that
Once
third
they can
party
afford
thing.
the fully comprehensive,
Yeah.
take that because
Yeah,
that's
so
the best
comprehensive.
option for you.
So legally, what am I required to
So
do?
first of all, for you to get comprehensive, you need to ensure that your vehicle is a certain age because past a certain age in St. Lucia, most companies don't insure the vehicle
So
comprehensive.
past
Okay,
like,
so I have a
10
question.
years,
If it
5
is over a certain age, right? Because my previous vehicle was, but it was still fully comprehensive because of the,
The loan.
no, I didn't have a loan on it anymore, but because of the valuation, how much it was worth. So they still provided me with the fully comprehensive.
Well, you have a good insurer.
Okay.
But now, well, before it was like that, but as we evolve and with all those accidents and so many issues, there's even the issue of now the reinsurers demanding that a certain amount of their premiums be held. It's called ceded, but it's held by the reinsurer so that they can pay the claims. So you have all of those, and these are the things driving up insurance. So to answer your question, if the vehicle is a certain age, it may be difficult to get insurance or may not get comprehensive at all. So look at, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, so I understand comprehensive insurance basically means if anything happens, you cover your vehicle and no,
So there's limits.
all right?
There's limits.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that what is the reasoning behind insurance companies saying, okay, so this is a 15-year-old or 20-year-old pickup in good condition, has never had an issue, it's roadworthy. Why would they not give that vehicle comprehensive insurance? What are the factors or the parameters they look at that would cause them not to do that?
Besides just
Statistics.
age.
Statistics. So the older the vehicle gets, the more likely it is to develop mechanical problems and, all sorts of problems. And then people are more inclined to get rid of them. So, all the things we do. We live in Saint Lucia. We know what they do.
I don't know what they do. Tell me what they do.
They write it off to get the insurance money. So the insurance companies, they're aware of all of these things. And if you look at
So you guys
the
have like
claims-
investigators that investigate
Yes,
the
we do.
different accidents of the written off vehicles before deeming it a write-off or even paying out insurance.
Yeah, there
Okay.
are. So they call them loss adjusters. And if they put a loss adjuster on your case, then they're doing some further investigation.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I have seen some people who I know made working a little job. Next thing you know, I see them on a BMW or a
yeah.
Lexus or something. Then 2 months down the line, you recognize, yes, I pay all that money on insurance there. I can't even make the loan payments. And next thing you know, I see he's smiling in the accident. I say, but why am I smiling in the accident? Then next thing you know, I see them have a next car driving. Like, I was wondering if you wanted to pay attention to these people, Because I just see them going for all these vehicles. So you say they actually investigate some of these people. You'll ever catch some of them? And
Yes.
how do you handle a case like that?
They deny your claim.
Oof.
Flatly. Once
It's like,
That's tough. Like,
So you basically just damaged yourself and your car
Yep.
for nothing.
the policy has a lot of room to deny a claim. So if an insurer really wants to deny your claim, they can do it. They can find a loophole in the policy to deny your claim. So they will not just outrightly deny your claim. Some people, they really did do this. And so if the insurer, based on, you have this form to fill out when you have an accident, the claim form. And so when you fill out that form, if there are too many inconsistencies or, whatever it is, then they will hire a loss adjuster to do some further investigation, reconstruct the scene, do all sorts of stuff to see if this claim is really legit.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
had a situation recently, right, where I driving my nice new vehicle down the road, and then I just feel an extra bump in the road. When I look behind, I see a whole aqua mashup in the back of my vehicle. And then the guy coming out and he say, "What, bossman? You just stop in the road." And I watch the young man with all his ball bearing chins and his gold on his hand, look like he have all his money weighing. And I say, but what you was doing so close to my vehicle? Only to find out the vehicle was not his and it's somebody else's vehicle. I did call the police. But I'm wondering, in a case like that, should I pursue the young man who was driving the vehicle, or is it a better legal route to pursue the vehicle
Owner?
insurer and owner?
In the first place, you should have called the police.
I did call the police.
You did?
But you know how that goes.
Okay, they took some time.
It took some time
Well,
to get me
stay
the
there
report and what.
because guess what? Sometimes you will never get to hear about that guy again or see him. But the thing is, even if you go to the insurer, unless this person makes a claim, puts in a claim, you can't get anything from the insurance company.
Even if a police report?
Yes.
Wow.
So
So
if
where
somebody
does that leave me if my new
Yeah.
vehicle, like I can't have a license in Saint Lucia?
So if you have an accident with somebody and they haven't gone in to make a claim or report that they were in an accident with you, there's nothing the insurance company can do. The insurance company doesn't have any contract with you. The
They
insurance
have a
company have a
contract
contract
with the
with
person.
this person they insured. And if this person never comes in to say, I had an accident with this person and I want you to pay, I'm at fault, then they can't go ahead and pay. It's even more
The
so.
police report and everything, you have to go to court to have the courts prove it, and then the courts will give the judgment to the insurance company.
Yeah.
So what is to stop people from just not claiming accidents and running away from the scenes of crime?
So who say they don't do that?
I was just about to say, how
They
much
do
people
it all the
actually
time.
do that?
They do it
Now
all
it's
the time.
It's mine.
Sorry.
Yes.
Let me join in and ask a question. It's mandatory as drivers that your vehicle is roadworthy and have insurance. It's mandatory. I'm not supposed to be on that road without a license to function insured vehicle. I end up in a collision, and you're telling me that there's no redress to me ending up in a collision when the other person is at fault and the person is absent or something. So what happens in a situation of accidental death? Let's say I end up in an accident, the other person died, but they were wrong. What happens in that kind of scenario? They can't put in a claim.
If the police can't find any
Yes, they can. So a family member, whoever the heirs are, can go in and say, hey, this person had an accident with whoever, and they can do it. The heirs can do it on their behalf. Because the same way, if a person dies, your heir can go and insure the vehicle.
Okay, I understand. So in that scenario, in the scenario I guess presented there, where the person who is at fault caused the accident, all right, and they passed away. The heirs don't have or are not obligated to take any form of responsibility on their behalf. And that leaves me, who may be injured, probably with a broken limb, whatever the scenario is. And my insurance, I may have put in a claim with my insurance, but they cannot act or they cannot force the other person to pay me. What happens? Would my insurance cover me in any way?
The insurance companies usually work together. So if it's a case like that, I don't see why, this person, the insurance company would be reluctant to pay you.
Okay. No, I was just going based on what you said about that the person has to put in a claim. So I was trying to figure out if there is what are the outliers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the insurance company will reach out to whoever the heir is or the person. They will reach out, and then now they will proceed to file a claim and do the regular process. But even when the person with the accident does not come in, if you report it, they will still take steps to reach out to that person and say, hey, we got a report that you were involved in an accident. By your policy states that you're supposed to report all accidents, incidents, whether minor or serious, you're supposed to come and report it by yourself with somebody. So you're breaching your policy. You need to come in to make that claim. So there are parameters in place for situations like that, because it does happen. It happens all the time where, this person is hunting down the person to come and file a claim, and the insurer themselves can't even reach that person because they know what they did. They will not be reachable. But, in the end, usually, but if they don't come to claim, sorry.
So what's your advice for somebody who ends up in a situation like that, and the person who damaged their vehicle doesn't come or doesn't make a claim with their insurance?
That's why you call the police.
Yeah, I know, but you went through all that process. You called the police,
and the
you
buses
got their insurance information, you got their driver's license information, you got their number. You did all the necessary steps. You did all the necessary steps, but they didn't make a claim with their insurance, and so you're stuck in the wind.
No, you can take them to court. You can
So
take
you
them
just-
to court.
Okay.
And then the court will mandate that they make a claim to the insurer, and the insurer will fulfill that claim.
So basically, more money have to spend, people.
But you get all back.
Yeah, I know. I just begin to.
To our part one. In our part one, we were talking from our perspective, our human perspective, as to the cause of accidents in Saint Lucia. from our layman's perspective, now that we have you on air, I want you to be able to illustrate to us, from your perspective as an insurer, what are the true causes, based on what information that you have, for most of the vehicular accidents, the collisions that we have in Saint Lucia. And from your assessment, what do you think needs to be corrected?
So many things. I mean, I could talk until tomorrow about that.
Now, I would say number one cause was distractions. But
It is. So unfortunately, the insurance industry does not share information this much to, come up with statistics that could prove these things. But there was this agency recently, I can't remember the name, but they did a campaign in conjunction with the Ministry of Transport, and they did a survey. And the main cause of accidents is
People.
distractions.
so I would have win that automatic. Say automatic, so
It is distraction. Secondly, speeding. There was also the lack of proper signage. The road conditions.
Those are all the points that we said.
So those are the big
But you said signage, right? The side road there, the back road there, they actually have more reflective tape now around the different areas, and they put up all this reflective thing on the side of the road.
I'm not going
I say, yeah, boy.
What is so all right, so I've known from back in the day when, like you said, insurance companies were mortal enemies. Guys insuring one vehicle under 5 insurance companies and doing the gauntlet of claiming, right? Why aren't the insurance companies have an insurance board that can do what you say, that can give all the information of statistics, that they can come up with a conclusion like, all right, so guys, this is the situation. We need to get the insurance companies to either implement this, we need to get the traffic department to do something, or the driving schools to increase this teaching or whatever it is. Why? What do you think has caused them not to want to do that? Is it still the same competition?
somewhat, but we're working on that heavily this year.
Okay.
As the chair, that's one of my mandates for the year, is to increase public education. And we're working on this database where all insurance companies can put in the information and we can get analytics and statistics out of those. So these are the things that we're working on. We can't do it alone. We're working in conjunction with the Ministry of Transport and the Traffic Department, and also the driving schools, the banks, and all the different statutory bodies, so that we can get to that level.
Okay.
Is motor insurance profitable?
Not at all.
Nope.
Not at all. Especially now. Before, yes. Now, not with the influx of vehicles we have coming in. So on average, I think it's about 400 and something vehicles coming in every month on the island.
That's a lot.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the problem.
It's already so small.
I know, right? Because
That's what I
the problem is 6 people in one house want 3 vehicles per person.
So in a situation like that, in terms of the motor insurance, it's the only compulsory insurance that, I guess users have to take up. I don't count it NIC. That's the only compulsory insurance that we as persons who own vehicles, or everybody have to have, right? And in that scenario, most of us cry when you have to ship that money at the end of the year, right? Some of us, not most of us. Some people are, yeah.
Whenever in the middle of the year.
Yeah, you understand? And if at the end of the day, in our eyes, the way we see it, because the amount of vehicles that we have cannot compute to the amount of persons that have medical insurance, for example, right? But yet still you're saying that it's not profitable. What gauges the profitability for the insurer in that scenario?
Exactly what I was explaining earlier, that
Output.
you're paying about 5% of the value, or you're paying this small premium and the cost of the claim is this. So you're paying this, but they're paying out that.
But we have volume in terms of the amount of persons to be insured.
No, we don't.
Without volume.
No, not the prices.
The
not the
amount of
prices
claims
being
that
paid.
are coming in does not balance out
No.
or justify the amount of money that they're receiving.
It's a lot more claims being paid out than the amount of premium income.
So from your experience, and I was going back to your age, from your experience in the industry, how much of the road collisions do you think is deliberate?
So in the report that I received from the traffic department for the Central Division, only 111 of those are serious accidents and 6 fatal. So the whole 1,800 and something, non-serious, totally avoidable. So if you ask me, so imagine if we didn't have any of these other accidents and we only had those serious ones, we only have about 120 accidents, and that's fine for the year. So all these other fender benders and all these other things were totally unavoidable. Totally avoidable, yeah.
All right, and in a scenario like that, is it a situation where they're trying to take from the insurance agencies, from your purview? Would you?
No, I just feel like people don't care, like, because there is no punishment. So, it's like a free for all. Nobody gets punished. You have a terrible accident, somebody dies. Do you get charged?
So they people get,
I've heard
where people get their license revoked or anything.
No, I've heard of
Yeah,
people
but
going to jail
that's manslaughter.
for reckless driving and
Thank you.
whatnot.
You're supposed to
Yeah, in Saint Lucia, yeah.
So
It's not.
This happen.
You don't get years in prison. You might get 6 months, a year, something
Which
like
is
that.
absurd.
Right? But if they can pinpoint that you were drunk and you were driving really recklessly, speeding or whatever it is on your car, you can go to jail.
Now, I was wondering, imagine me wheeling my motorcycle on a 3-lane highway, losing control of the bike, and hitting a child. To me, what's the consequence for something like that
Exactly.
in Saint Lucia? To me, that should have legal ramifications.
Right, so that's
it
one
only
of the
had
issues.
financial legal ramifications.
Yeah, definitely not legal. And that's something we're working on as well with the police. Imagine the demerit system in Saint Lucia cannot, it's there in the legislation, but they cannot enforce it
Enforcement.
because there is a disconnect between the court system and the traffic and transport.
Especially the time it takes.
That would be a simple thing to you and me, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the issue.
I brought up the question in terms of traffic. For example, you have to wait for traffic police and get a report from traffic. And at the site, the police could tell you at the end of taking everybody's statements and watching the roads and doing the measurements, they could tell you who was wrong in that incident. I believe that some element of it need to be enforceable in a situation like, for example, let's say a man was speeding into me and he hit me in the back because he never ended up stopping distance. Speeding is against the law. But what is the ramification of being caught speeding? Is it imprisonment? Is it just a ticketable offense? Those things, I think, need to be adjusted for us to be able to have a better system.
You have to also remember, when you look at all the factors of somewhere like that, these things come from first world countries where there are speed traps, cameras. There are many angles that they can come. There are people who are forensic analysts for traffic, for accidents. So they can literally look and say, okay, the distance from this camera to that camera, you would have been traveling at 100 miles where you should be traveling at 70, so you're wrong. We don't have that here. So legally, an officer can come on the scene and say, all right, you hit him from behind, whatever, this distance, your brake mark, you're wrong. But then a lawyer will go to court and say, well, where's your certification for you to be able to make such a statement? That is hearsay, that is your opinion, but you're not certified. You don't have a degree.
There's physics.
Physics, but legal aspects about it is, the law is what you can prove.
Right, but you can prove that there was a brake impression, this however long, so that means you were speeding.
But you could have brake failure, it could be poor tire quality. They could be
that has nothing to do with the person who's still liable.
It has to do with what you can. But here's my next question, right? Or thought process. You said something that interests me, and I have been witness to accidents and involved in some accidents before, right? No, meaning I didn't cause them.
I want to
My
make sure-
vehicle was
I want to
parked.
make sure.
Okay, my vehicle was parked and I was upstairs in my
Last time I
office.
take leaks.
It get knocked and I was called downstairs. Okay, the man didn't run away. He waited for me to come downstairs.
It wasn't your fault.
It was not my fault.
Nice, he waited for you.
Yes, and then another time somebody lashed my vehicle. It parked same place, same in.
Probably.
I did park properly. You're well out of place. I reversed in my spot too, fam. I was well parked properly, and they lashed my vehicle, and I come downstairs and I see this big, huge dent in the front of my car, and the bank cameras magically that they didn't see or wasn't facing in that direction to tell me who knocked my vehicle. But anyways, I digress. I thought the police not supposed to tell you or determine who is at fault because they don't know who is at fault.
No, they can't. Because
In
in the
the-
report,
So why they don't ever say?
Because I was speaking to this police officer earlier during the week, and he was explaining, because that is one of our pet peeves in the insurance industry. It takes forever to get a police report.
Yeah, this 5 months thing ain't working out, or
Some
5
people,
weeks,
yes.
or 3 months, or
It is
however
supposed to be
long.
5 weeks, but most times it takes a little longer.
No.
4 months, I was still waiting on my police report for a knock that was to a parked vehicle. It wasn't like I was in no big accident. Like, my vehicle was parked. I wasn't even in it. I was upstairs minding my own business. And the man, every week I following up with the man, like, so, hey, you hear from the police yet? What's going on? The man say, well, miss, I'm sorry, you know, I'm
But
not
like,
hearing
in
from
a
you."
case like that, if he accept liability, can he just go to his
Yeah, but
insurance?
it was the company vehicle he lashed me with, not his personal.
Yeah.
So therefore, he needed the police report to find out that the insurance company then told him it was below the deductible, so it might as well they just pay it out of pocket. So he paid for my thing, and whatever happened with his company is between him and the company. That I had nothing
What
to
are
do
y'all
with.
doing about that? Or what are your suggestions y'all are doing to try and get this thing organized?
So we're working with them as well. I don't want to say it's an excuse. His explanation was that it's a process. So when the officers take the statements and the road measurements, it has to go through a process before, and they have to investigate before they create the police report.
Oh,
you know what's wild
so the
about
process is the investigation?
You know what? You know what's crazy about that? Police in 2025, 2026 would come on the scene, right? They will take measurements, they'll take statements, and nobody will pull out a camera to take a picture.
Thank you. I never see that, sir. Never.
Nobody will take out a
They
camera
don't
to
take
a
no
picture.
pictures.
In 2020,
And as far as I know, pictures, still images, and recordings are allowed in court. So I don't understand why they're not taking video evidence and
No,
and picture evidence.
In terms of making it, because you're already leaving the scene, all you have is the footnotes that you take from the person that probably couldn't speak properly, right? Yeah, that's you have the footnotes. Yeah, yeah.
Writing the notes down can't write properly, because
Yeah.
when they get the police report, sometimes police report telling you something completely freaking different
yeah.
to what actually happened.
No, well, then let's read it back to you, eh? Granted, they read it back to you. So when they read it back to you, it's supposed to sound like it making sense.
They read it back to you and it made sense at the time. When they go sit down and type that shit out, it's a completely
Yeah.
different thing
So,
sometimes.
so from that perspective, I'm asking because you're raising premiums, and I mean I understand all that was explained, but I think same way that we are compelled to make sure that we have to go and get our vehicle roadworthy and insured and everything, I think the onus is also on the insurance world to do their part to make sure that the compliances that is required to make sure we could reduce those scenarios are put in place. What is it y'all can do to make sure that you'll get the governing bodies to do their part?
all we can do is lobby, which we are doing. So that's part of my responsibility in that committee. And we are lobbying, we have lobbied, and we get the same explanations all the time. Hopefully, after we all come together and, try to, what's the word? Synchronize our systems, then maybe we'll see improvement in that. But for now, that's the story. It's investigations have to occur before the report can be done. And I could understand because when you at the accident scene, the human being will say one thing. By the time they go home and everybody else weighs in on the story, when they go and give the police the statement, is a totally different story. And you have to wonder, or when they go bring you all back to the scene, there's always some sort of dispute. No, this didn't happen like that. It happened that way. And the officers have to go through all of that. So in their defense, maybe it's true that, the investigation has to take some time, but I don't believe it has to take 8 months and 6 months and 3 years.
Okay, so and you're saying that you're lobbying. If you can share with us, in your mind, what would be the utopia for us in that scenario where the insurance world and, the police and the persons that pay the premiums will not feel the squeeze like that? What would be the utopia idea that you would like to share to see come across for us?
Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I can't say too much now because, it's a lot of planning and consulting and stuff. So there's not much I could say right now. We at the beginning stages of all of this. But ideally, we want to get to the point where the insured does not even have to get involved in the process of getting the police report. We have DigiGov. We want to be able to use DigiGov to its fullest potential and harmonize all the systems that you don't have to go here, there to get all of the different things, that you can just go to one place and get what you need to get. That's the ideal. That's the goal.
First thing to fix DigiGov.
Yeah, it has a lot of issues.
What is? So I have two questions. What is DigiGov? People who don't.
It's basically the government's holistic website for the different ministries, agencies.
It's like their data.
Right, yeah, government services. So you can pay for your renewal of your license on there. You could
like a one-stop shop.
You could renew your ID.
GMV digitally.
Okay.
All them kind of different things.
Good to know. Second question.
And it accepts payments.
Huh?
So you don't physically need
Trinidad,
to go in.
Take no Trinidad. Okay, so second question, as a pedestrian, right? When we are using the pedestrian crossing, and so basically explain to me in terms of our rights. Sometimes pedestrians, they just throw themselves wherever and just expect drivers to stop. So if in an instance a pedestrian gets knocked down by a driver,
not on a crossing, right?
Let's go with both.
Okay.
On the crossing and not on the crossing. So what are my rights and what are the driver's rights? If you could kind of from an insurance perspective.
It depends so much on the situation, but let's say if this person is on the pedestrian crossing, they did everything they had to do, and you just drive on this person, then you are at fault and you are liable. But if you're driving on the road and this person just jumps into the road and you hit this person, you are not liable.
I was really
A lot of people take fault because you hit a pedestrian. It's the same thing. If you're driving along the road and a vehicle comes and knocks you, you don't accept liability. So in the very same instance, if it's a pedestrian, don't accept liability. You were not at fault. You didn't go and hit this person. This person ran into the road.
In a case like that, I guess something like a dash cam would help because God knows what the person would say after that happened. And because everybody know the recent case in Saint Lucia where the person literally just walked straight into the road, and I've heard of other cases where I was up north. Yeah, right on the show.
The show is a common place for that, by the way.
And Masha.
Oh, yes.
The people always end up in the road in Masha.
They own the road.
They definitely own the road. And then they swing on. I'm not even going to get into Masha, but I remember the case with the airline air hostess, which come off the bus and he walks straight into the highway.
Got killed.
And as soon as he walked into the highway, he got licked up by a vehicle. And that was one big story because the person who hit that pedestrian was a prominent figure's son. And I was there that night and I saw the situation in my half-drunk state. Take that out. Take that out.
And you never witnessed this?
Just from
From what I saw, the person walked straight off the bus and just walked straight into the road
From the front.
from the front, and the vehicle just happened to be passing us in them, and from it about 50 feet, his slipper over here. God, is that you?
That actually helped and eat. Leave it. Leave it so.
Good. Yeah, and then that was
Everyone
one.
says that disagreeing with you.
I feel so peace. And that was one big story saying how, and I remember seeing a prominent person on the scene, and he was just baffled. And in my honest opinion,
The driver wasn't wrong.
the driver was not wrong, or he was not liable. And poor Jab, the pedestrian, he had to pay for his lack of the pedestrian. Sorry, poor Jab, the pedestrian, had to pay for his lack of better judgment, and the driver had to witness that in front of him, because it's not easy, even if you're not wrong, to see you just driving and somebody just walks straight into your vehicle and you fly the person 50 feet. That by itself could traumatize you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
In a
it
case
can.
like that, would the insurance company advise that driver? What would be the advice of the driver? Like, would they let them accept liability? Would they advise them?
No, sir. No, you're not liable. Your policy is to protect you from liability. It's not to protect you from how you feel. It's from liability. So if you are not liable, it's a business I'm running. Why would I take on a claim, especially a bodily injury claim that could never end? Why would I take on that liability? I would advise you not to do that.
It would say, you see now, that is why the people say the insurance company have horns. I can understand you being a little bit apathetic to the situation, but the average person would want to cry and say, oh, but you have money, you should pay for that. Because imagine the man hit me in the back. No homo. And then he wanted to tell me about how he have a family. I said, my brother, what that have to do with me? So one of the things like I have the feeling, I said, Lucia, you want to do what
Just
you want on the
didn't
road.
tell people you hit you from the back. That's all. And just let it talk.
But other question to the insurance person.
But no, and the first thing your policy says is do not admit liability.
Facts.
Do not admit liability, because sometimes you are right. But how do you come and, there are times when you definitely know you were wrong. Okay, fine. And you come and you report and whatnot. But don't accept liability. Even if you're dead wrong, don't accept liability.
But there's
When
time
you
You
to
say,
get-
wait for the police report or?
No, you don't have to go as far as the police report, but you go to your insurance company and then you say, you know what, I was wrong. And then, they will advise you and tell you what to do. Have this person come in, fill out the forms. But in some cases, you are not wrong. And so they can advise you to, wait on the police report. And because in some instances, you're not.
Now can
hold you accountable. So some cases you hit a pedestrian and you feel sorry for them in the moment. You take them to the hospital, you start paying medical bills, and that goes on for months and months and months. You were not wrong. You're really not wrong. You're not liable for that. Then you keep doing that just out of the goodness of your heart. And it's expected. And we've heard of scenes and we've seen scenarios where that plays out, and it's expected that, hey, you knocked me, so you knocked me in your car, I was on the road, so you have to pay for my injuries. When you were the one on the road, it's not expected. It wasn't a pedestrian crossing. It wasn't a sidewalk. I was in the road going along my business. You come and impede my path.
So I actually have a
also
case
the
like
aspect
that
a lot of people
right
fail to
now.
realize, even if there's a pedestrian crossing, even if like the last time Kurt was saying, you have to
wait.
approach the pedestrian crossing as a stop. But there are aspects of mechanical failure, medical issues
Just the
that
person
you're
didn't see you in
still
time.
not supposed to just
Thanks.
step into
You
the
don't
road
just
onto
step
pedestrian
on the
cross.
crossing.
You stop and you look to make sure you can see you visible.
Made the eye contact.
They're stopping for you, and then you walk across.
and if you're able-bodied, walk across with some kind
with
of
some
urgency.
speed, don't walk and modeling and flicking hair and all type of shit.
On their phone
And walking.
Now I find that
I've
this is a
seen-
major
I've
problem.
come-
in
I've been
Saint
coming
Lucia
to a
these days.
road and I've seen people
Crossing the road on their
just
phones.
walk across the road on their phone, and you have to hit brakes and sit and watch you like
Yeah, like
you just see me walking here kind of stuff. And I'm like, boy, you're lucky I'm in a hurry.
There's a particular street in Saint Lucia where this happens every day. No, not Chelsea, but it's their fault. Every single day. They cross when the light is green, they cross.
And they don't have a pedestrian crossing. And they do not have, they have no pedestrian crossing.
They just cross.
No.
But it's not painted.
That pedestrian crossing has been removed. If you pay attention, you will see there's walk lights, traffic lights for walking as well. So for you to cross the road, right, you have to wait on your light to signal you to cross. Right? They don't. It's like they absolutely don't know that. So when they see the light turn red, the red light turned for me, yes, but it made for the other line of traffic to come. Right? So when the other traffic turns into the road now, and they're seeing people that they have to stop. Yeah. And then now you have a whole confusion. My light is now green and I'm waiting for people to cross because the other line of traffic couldn't move. So we had that whole.
I just crossed through that intersection.
Yeah.
When you see my light green, I just get off my break.
Yeah, but
when I tell them, look at your lights.
But the pedestrian
Understand? I said, look at your lights.
Yeah, it was there before.
Now, you know what I find? I find the average attitude of people in Saint Lucia is they just don't care. Up to today, a light green, and a man see to stop on the green light and talk to somebody on the side of the road. Another thing people like to do.
There's no courtesy.
No courtesy, none whatsoever. Another thing people like to do.
That's my biggest problem.
Besides the phone thing, learn how to yield. You see somebody coming, it's not even your right away, but you saw a customer just pushing your way through and being in the middle of the road. We have now roads in Saint Lucia. Learn how to yield. Number 3, you see that thing you say about phantom marks in the road?
What?
I paid my license, phantom marks in the road. They're supposed to have a turn off or a run off, like for instance, Mojiro Hill to go into Moshi.
Monte Gap, all
But
that.
I have to imagine where the lines are for me to turn, you know.
Moshi, all that,
And there's people always driving on where that piece is where you're supposed to go to turn.
Yeah, and then voice of production give me pressure because you saw some of the mediocrity in terms of signage. You say, oh, the construction, you know.
I talk about road under construction.
No,
Hold
but
on,
guess
hold
what?
on, hold
But
on.
guess what? After Jason talked about signage, guess what the hell happened on that road not too long
The
after that?
signage was not adequate.
The signage, they increased the signage on the road. So he was right.
And then the funny thing is, I think while we were recording this episode, there are some other factors at play where the general news media was bringing it up about the same signage thing. So I wasn't alone in that.
So Kacy, let me ask you a
I
question.
want to make sure I qualify when
Hold on, one second.
I don't tell you that road marking is not necessary.
You say it was
The
adequate.
road now is under construction.
And you say it was adequate. That's the
Voice
thing.
of production.
So let me ask you. So in a case of,
Maybe that's a higher
let's just say
standard.
like the gap to turn into Moshi or the Bonte Gap, where you're supposed to have the
The clear markings.
offshoots to stop, to turn, and there's none, and 2 vehicles collide. How does the insurance company handle that? Because there's no markings. Even if we know it's supposed to be there, but there are no markings. Like, who would be liable? Because if I'm in my lane and a guy came in and he's cutting the corner, because as far as he's concerned, there's no lines and he hits me. So if the markings were there, I would be in my lane, but they're not there and he hits me. Like, who's liable for that? How does insurance, do they just deny both claims? How do they do?
Good answer.
The police will tell you you were not on your side of the road.
Right.
You check the middle of the
You
road.
drive on the left side of the road, not the middle.
No, I'm talking about turning off.
Yes, but there's a clear space there for you to turn.
There is not a clear space there for you to turn.
Hello, by the Bonte Gap across the road from Harbour Club. Yes, there is a clear space there, and people always driving in the middle of the road there.
They measure the road, the span of the road, right? And from my experience, I remember that they measure the span of the road, and then they now allocate, if you want to put it that way, what your side is and what the other person's side is supposed to be. And whoever is on the offside will be marked as the person at fault in that scenario.
Even if they were supposed to be a turn off.
Because you see the thing about it is, again, I know that at least for driving school from my experience,
Right.
even that when the road don't have markings, that your gauge is, if you stay to the side of the road, you could never have a problem.
Right.
So if you stay to your end of the road, you will never have a problem because you're on your end of the road.
Now, here's my problem with that. You tell me, all right, so we're supposed to have, we're coming from a 2-lane to a 3-lane because you have a turn off from your left side because you're going to turn across into a side road on your right. So there's no marking. So now you have to change your mindset to thinking there's 3 lanes to 2 lanes. So stay on your side and turn. But yet still, if you park in a place in town that's supposed to have double lines, so you're not supposed to park, and there's no double lines, the police will give you a ticket.
But then it's up to you to go and contest.
You can contest it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but they still give you the ticket, knowing full and well
Exactly.
that they're not supposed to give you the ticket because you waste illegal right
You can
and waste your time. So,
But
you know?
that's one. But here what they want to do, right? We have someone in there that's a professional. We're going to make sure we get to her and ask her some proper questions.
We have some fan mail.
Yeah.
We have some fan mail coming in.
So, how do you claim damages for a vehicle from an animal on the shock road?
I love it.
The animals are not insured.
Yeah.
If you have comprehensive, then you can claim.
So only if you have comprehensive.
Yeah, but you claim your
Comprehensive. Yeah.
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 All how is just you get screwed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm at risk because my animal. Then.
No, just know we haven't a barbecue for the whole week. I eat a cow on the right.
No, but don't you think in a scenario like that, in terms of your policies, there need to be adjustments, at least that way, because we don't write the policy. We come to you guys, you tell us this is what we offered, right? And then if we're lucky enough, we get windshield protection. If we're lucky enough, we get this, we get that.
No, you always get windscreen protection with your comprehensive policy. Always.
Let me tell you, I terrified.
But you'll cover the side windows.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Windscreen covers glass.
Including
Yeah.
Sunroof.
Yeah.
because imagine I remember there was a scenario I was watching not here where people were talking about the insurance and they were saying that you get windscreen coverage but it doesn't cover the sunroof. I was like, what?
Well, you see,
sunroof seals.
maybe I don't know what part of the sunroof, but I don't expect it to cover the sunroof because so many mechanical things can go wrong. But if you were in an accident, let's say the vehicle flipped over and your windscreen got damaged, they will fix it. Anything that gets damaged by the accident will get fixed.
Okay, so I have a
I
next
just driving
question.
on the road and a stone just flick on my windscreen. Like that was
Yeah, we
super.
pay-
Or those
They pay those
people
claims all
weed
the
whacking on the side of the road and a stone just flap and damage.
But that's
Yeah,
like
that
the best thing
happens
that
all the
people
time.
say.
So who's liable for that?
Yeah, but who's liable for that?
To have guards and some of them do have guards.
Yeah, so if you have a third party policy and while they're cutting grass, the stone hits your vehicle, you can approach them.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you have comprehensive, you can't leave.
Comprehensive and the stone damages my windscreen, my premium.
No. Windscreen claims don't affect your no claims
I
discount.
did not know that.
Okay.
No, it does.
Good to know.
And it doesn't interfere with your deductible.
No, not at all.
Okay.
There's a limit, usually between 2,500, 3,000. You can increase that limit as well. So if you feel like the limit they've given you is not enough, you can pay an additional premium and increase that limit to 5,000 if you want.
That's
Whatever.
only for comprehensive.
Only comprehensive.
Third party would not cover anything.
No, third party covers only the third party, whoever you hit.
All right, so
Or whatever
I
you
want to
need.
play a little game with the panel called Fan Mail. Starting with our guests, I would read a couple questions and then we'll go accordingly and give our views on that. So if I'm fully comprehensive with you and somebody hits me, but the person has no insurance, how do I get paid?
Say that again?
If I'm fully comprehensive, right, and somebody hit me and the person has no insurance, how do I get paid?
You claim from your policy.
That's not me getting paid. That's well,
But you still get paid. Your damage get fixed. And that's why you have comprehensive insurance. So that if you
Situations like that.
have an accident,
okay, definitely.
you get paid.
But can I pursue it legally and have the person
Yes,
Yes,
you can.
you can.
And the insurance company can also pursue this person who is at fault.
on my behalf?
Yeah.
They might not have the money, but they can pursue it.
Yeah, they can.
And yet still that person is on the road illegally and police cannot do nothing about it.
They
did
should.
they-
They're supposed to arrest the
On the
person.
road without insurance.
But
They're supposed to,
arrest
yeah,
you.
they're
They would
supposed
give a
to
$1,000 fine.
impound the vehicle
Yeah.
and charge the person. They're supposed to.
But that's a finable offense. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's not
Yeah.
Now, I would say to the police. I think we're giving them too much licks because for the amount of accidents and incidents happening, it might be a little too much for a police force to deal with, especially these days, the important vehicle left, right, and center. So we can give the police force a little slack there.
I wouldn't say I'm bashing them, but I would say I'm giving them a little flack for understanding that there's certain things they should not be wasting their time on. You understand what
Actually, I believe that the reason why we have to give them licks is because we haven't forced them to change how they operate in terms of the traffic department. And I think that is important too. So, for example, we have a number of collisions, like you denoted early on in the beginning of the episode, that between Marigot and Shock, 2,000 accidents alone within that region, right? But yet still, you have to wait half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours for police to get to the scene of an accident. And those persons in question normally come inside of a police pickup where we have a fleet of bikes as well. If the policing on the highways, on the major roadways, was more present, those situations would be reduced, in my opinion.
But they also need something to work with. There is no punishment. There are no punitive measures for persons who obstruct the law and the traffic laws. So they need something to work with as well. It's one thing to come and visit a scene and take a report and all of that. But
I'm not talking about the accident itself. I'm talking about how you avoid it.
Could you want me to answer that for you?
The problem is the police force is undermanned and underfunded. We have less and less people wanting to join the police force. They are overworked, because I know a few police officers will tell you straightforward they are
And they don't
overworked.
get paid enough to
in the
care.
last 2 years have increased the police force, have gone up by 150 police officers
In 2 years.
in the last 2 years.
So you think 150 is adequate to
I never said adequate. I am letting you know. Hold on. I am letting you that whereby at the end of the day, you had a scenario or you had a situation where you could have said we didn't have enough resources, we didn't have enough things. Now you have increased resources and you still have the 2 hour waiting times for an incident.
Because the incidents
the
have
same
increased.
the same
The
increase.
No,
incidents
no,
have
the same
increased,
increase.
my friend.
No.
In the last 2 years, the
Bro.
incidents have increased.
So we are the same.
Okay,
this
let me ask you a question. I just finished telling you
But you ain't
to get
paying enough to care.
to get to a point.
Enough to care.
You know how much officers are getting paid?
They're not being paid enough to care.
How much is enough to care?
What's enough to care?
But they're not what they're being paid.
Besides that,
Go ahead.
the point.
And all depends on your rank.
The point is, when you call traffic department, the vehicle that comes to you, all of the time, not some of the time, all of the time, is a big pickup, a Hilux or a Navara or something.
Now they get rid
That's what that comes to you.
Yeah.
The police has not just pickups, they have other modes of transport. If you come into a scene of an accident, what's the most agile way to get to a scene of an accident?
A bike.
Bike.
Right? But yet still, that fleet that you'll have is there for outriders, there to tell me go on the side and mash up my shocks, there to tell me to do this, right? That's what they're there to tell me, to get me off the road, to get somebody somewhere quicker. So if you could have that form of urgency to get somebody from point A to point B a lot quicker, because that person needs to beat the traffic that I have to sit down in. You understand? And at the end of the day, you cannot get to my scene of the accident at that same speed. But I mean, that means you are, and that's a traffic department that have that.
Do we have the statistics of how many police officers want to be bike riders?
But I mean, all the police, bro, then fellas getting the vehicles and they're getting the licensing for them to drive the vehicles.
Is there any qualifications?
Yes, they have the license to do it.
Who want to be bike
Bro,
riders?
yes, they have bike riders. They have persons that enter the force, and that's what they do.
Now, let me tell you, if
They
I'm
ride bike for the police or they
Yes.
ride bike? Because I think you misunderstand the question I'm asking you. I'm telling you how many police officers, besides the number of outriders we have now, in the force who want to be bike riders.
But that's beside you want to be what I'm telling you what your job is. Who want to be
adequate manpower.
what do you mean you don't have adequate
You don't
manpower?
have adequate manpower.
Jesus.
The-
Okay,
so right now-
what's the size of the police force right now?
I don't know.
But how you know we don't have it?
Because I've talked to multiple police officers.
How many? What's the size of our police force right now?
They're in the force, so you don't hesitate.
No, I'm asking you a serious question. What is the size of our police force right now? We're saying we don't have enough manpower. The claim is that I think is 2 officers supposed to be able to manage a scenario with 100 people or something. So the equivalent or something. So yeah, that's
a prison.
the point. Is if you have to put it on the ratio, you have to put it on the ratio.
The ratio is there.
Right? The police force at this point, I am willing to bet, don't quote me exactly, it's beyond 1,000 people.
The whole force?
Yes. It's beyond 1,000 people.
So what I would say is 2 things. Yes. If I have my nice low sports car and you tell me go on this side when I say I can go on this side of the road, I'm not going on this side of the road. Number 1. Number 2, I sincerely believe we can adopt one policy from the bigger countries where if it's a minor fender bender, to me the insurance companies can have an agent to come, your insurance representative, my insurance representative come out and settle minor disputes once it's not nothing that can be criminal liable. You all have, I know Barbados already have a policy like that where they have people come out and assess and say, okay. And then if anything, they can escalate it to the police force. That can free up a lot of
of this stuff with the police.
And I think it would also be in the insurance
Best
interest.
interest. But again,
Instead of waiting until I claim for a vehicle I write off and then send somebody to adjust that for me.
the insurance industry is already pressed. We don't have enough staff. So if you think the police force doesn't have enough policemen, the insurance industry is understaffed. So for you to do that, you'd have to assign somebody to go to an accident scene. That's an additional cost for the insurance company that I'm sure they really don't want to take on, considering motor insurance is already unprofitable.
But in the long run, wouldn't it be better for y'all in the end? Wouldn't you?
But if it will take the police officer so long to get there, how long you think it will take an insurance
Take
company
10
to
guys,
get
give
there?
them 10 motorcycles, and all the insurance companies share the salary.
That's what I was thinking.
I guarantee you will make it.
Because it's happening right now in Barbados. And that's
10 guys, 10 motorcycles, they make sure they train properly. They have a special bike that everyone knows. You announce it to the public that these guys are insurance adjusters. When they come through, you see the little lights, let them come through. The insurance companies, how many insurance companies do we have in Saint Lucia now? 12?
No, I'm not sure.
Roughly, what do you think?
I've never counted,
Under
and I
10,
haven't
under
looked at the
20.
report. Maybe about 10, 12.
All right, so let's just say we have 10. 10 of you all come together and say, all right, we're paying these guys X amount. We're all fitting the bill together because this is going to assist us in the long run. And they will get to the scene before the police officers. And if you get to the scene and the guy say, all right, you know what? Yeah, I hit you from behind. I'm wrong. The insurance just said witnessed it. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. Gone. They just can call the police and say, cancel that. I'm here already. Done it. You're out of there. Traffic let up. Police force have less load on them. And the insurance company is happy.
Well, first of all, the law has to change.
Not that it's a bad idea, it's a great idea. But there are a number of things that happen in Saint Lucia, and we don't want to change it because many people benefit from the way or the way that the system is dysfunctional, and both drivers and other stakeholders benefit from it, and so they may not necessarily want to change it, even if the logical, practical way is to change it. That's the reality of that, because, like you said, how much do you have to pay? How much do you have to get paid to care? Versus how much they could get paid.
Anything to care.
How much you could get paid to care. And I'm not talking about the police specifically, but the drivers. The drivers who do this type of thing intentionally stand to benefit too. So
there's reality versus logic. That's always looking at. Because
I believe the common premise or contract you enter into is that you go into the insurance contract with good intentions, that as an insurance company, I trust you to actually take care of your vehicle and look out.
You're going to the insurance because they tell you have to go to the insurance, right?
But it's a
No,
good thing.
but come
Let
to
me
the point.
finish my
Come to the point, eh?
No, let me finish my point.
Hold on. I heard you, but I had to.
You're not hearing me, you're just talking over me.
Go ahead. I was just making sure I get that point.
The basic contract is I'm under the assumption that you want to keep your vehicle and you can afford your vehicle. But clearly that some people they don't care if they live or die tomorrow, even though they say, because I heard police officers say straight, I don't think you live past 20 the way you go. And I say, oh, bossman, how you gonna tell me that? But clearly the things you're doing not making sense. You don't have no helmet, you don't have no shit, your leg broken already. I see man, the leg break already and they still on bike, you know. The doctor tell them, yo.
Hey, you make that one for chat for you.
No,
not for each
I know what
other.
you're talking about.
But
I've seen guys with casts
and metal in the leg.
still riding their
And
bike.
they're still riding because you can't take it out of them. And then I honestly don't think the insurance company or the police force can do anything about these people.
They can. When you go to Barbados, you don't see people riding without helmets. Everybody, if you don't have a helmet, you get charged. And they impound your bike.
Remember I said that in the last episode? It's like impounding vehicles for every offense. People will start to be boy.
They
But I also have a problem with the fact that they only want to enforce the law at the beginning and the end of the month. Every single month, that is when they want to enforce
Yes,
the law.
that's what
I don't like that. Why it is they can't be more active and proactive on the road like Kurt said?
Because we don't have enough people.
Nah, that's BS fam. Because at the end of the month and the first of the month, them traffic cops on the road.
You know
So
why?
rather
Because
say,
they pull them
stand up in front of the
from
one-way
every
road.
pocket.
But they're not there every day. But they could walk up to
They told them
Cage.
we don't have enough because they'll send them Rodney Bay this week. Then they have to move them Rodney Bay to come to Castries.
That's not true.
And they have to move.
No.
That's not true.
Because I see the same police officers everywhere.
No.
Oh, today they open the Northern Division. In there, they admitted that at the end of the last recruit cycle that happened there, 96 recruits will 25 of those 96 will be assigned to that thing they just opened up in the north.
Because they have to, they have to.
Listen, no, not because you the police, you know exactly what they're doing. The point I'm making to you is that those officers are assigned to certain areas, right, or certain departments.
Right.
The traffic department got 45 officers from the previous school. What are 45 officers?
All over, I see them everywhere.
No, that's big officers. That's not traffic.
I've seen the officers when they come in and
So where the traffic department is,
on the highway,
what are they responsible for?
the island.
Okay.
The whole island or just
They're responsible for the whole island, right? The traffic department is responsible for the whole island, right?
So division.
Huh?
Where's the southern traffic?
No, I don't know. I can't tell you about, but I know that's where the main traffic department is. You understand? The point I'm making to you is when you tell me, okay, you have a body of 45, you get 45 new recruits, 45 new people. Not that doesn't tell you you don't have the officers you had there before. You have 45 new. Where them? Where are they?
We trained.
Being trained? They gone for training already.
No, you've been trained as a police officer, but you've not been trained in the department.
That's not true.
When you come to the traffic department or SSU or any department, you
Wait a minute, when you
first
go-
from training school.
Wait a minute, when you come from training school, they cover everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to high school and then secondary school. When you finish secondary school, now
How long is it taking for you to be trained in your department?
There are some officers that in there that for years that still don't know everything.
Yeah, but
Let's be realistic.
you're giving excuses why you would say, okay,
Reasons.
you're giving that's not
Not
reasons,
excuses.
that's excuses. Because you can't have a traffic department.
That's the main point. They're
You
not
can't have a
paid enough to care. Let's move on.
And they're getting recruits. They got 96 new ones.
Recruits, yes, for
They got-
other reasons, not because of the money, fam.
So why would you want to become a police officer?
I remember
Because they care about their country and there's probably nothing else.
Exactly.
Not because of the money. It's as simple as that.
I don't know where let's get this
Let's not
from.
get into that.
It is.
Now, just you were saying.
To get a police online.
Just you were saying.
Yeah, you're
I remember a special situation. Could ask what the police are. I remember you talking about the committed Hilux. I remember them I sit on by a bar And I watch a policeman reverse on my park car. Yes. And then I remember my partner come and tell me, Jason, you know what my headlights? $1,500.
Go and tell that man.
Boy! And it was off duty with the policeman. Eh?
Watch out.
Yeah, but yet still, he had the police vehicle,
Yeah, the police.
right? And then you'll call them and tell you, oh, we don't have any vehicles yet. Or they'll call you and tell you, okay, the vehicle is down in cul-de-sac. And you're telling me the traffic department, why I know, I see it every day. They have two bikes parked outside there. Nobody could bother back and go on a traffic scene. But man, some of the things that we accept them and we accept the excuses along with them as well too. You understand? I'm not telling you officers don't have the stress. I'm not telling you officers don't have the thing. But the reality is, as an officer, when you're doing your job, you have to embody professionalism no matter what. That story about we don't have enough, we understaffed, we this, we that. Yeah, I understand you're human. But if you come into a restaurant, right, you don't want to hear about the problems I have in my home when you come in the restaurant. You don't hear about the problems I have in my home. You care about that? You care about that? I open my door.
So let's look at that.
We'll close up that section. But let me ask you a question. Kacy said we had an average of 2,000 accidents for 2025.
In that region.
In that region. Just in that region. Do the math for that for me, please.
I
Jason.
just doing the maths there.
All right? Of how many accidents per day that is?
On average, about 5.
About 5.
On average,
Yeah,
5
okay.
days.
Yeah,
So
about 5.
think of what you're saying. That's from Marigot to
Shock.
To Shock. That's a big distance. Imagine you have to go down and you know.
And that's not even in the
That's
north.
report. But then you have as a police officer, when you put
That's
in
a
an
whole
accident, you
idea.
have to go down, you have to take the measurement, you have to do this, you have to take statement. That's a whole hour just to do that section of it. And then you have to now leave there and you get a call Shockhill. When you get a call Shockhill, then you get a call on top of Rosehill.
And
you
then,
get a
Carol,
call
we
in
have to
town,
remember
traffic.
they have certain periods where the accident rates go up, like Independence,
Christmas.
Carnival time.
Exactly.
Year's Christmas.
You're talking about responding to incidents. I am talking about how you go about policing. And there's a magnitude. Hold on.
Talking about the length.
But hold on. The point I'm making there is that if you have proper patrol systems in place, right? You have, okay, let's break it down. Castries City to Shock Roundabout. Let's break it down this way, right? Let's just see. You happen to have beat patrol on that, on in terms of traffic on that route. Their job is to navigate for a time period on that route. That's their route. Right? Their presence alone, them doing that alone, is already an adjustment for the regular man on the road.
That's true because
It's already an adjustment.
I have seen police stations
Right?
at roundabouts, and it would make people be a little more careful about.
Right. So when we look at things from that vantage point, after 6 o'clock, bro, it's free gaming, bro. After 6, it's free gaming in Saint Lucia. After 6, the same road you're scared to park on, you could park there without any issue. Because policing stops at 6 o'clock. And you're going to come and tell me that's a manpower issue? That's not a manpower issue. The officers don't knock in about 6 o'clock. So all the officers knock in about 6 o'clock. So all of them come to work at 8 o'clock.
There's some roads.
That there's a
Peak
2
hours.
hours, no parking. But there is a no parking from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We are talking about those special roads. We're talking about the same road, that Jeremy Street road there, that you're not supposed to park on. You come in the night time, they have double parking. And that's on that same street. And then they will police that road the entire day. Make sure you can't park there. That offloading zone there, bro. They consider you're not supposed to be parking on that offloading zone there. People get tickets on that there. The owner of the building of the boutique right there got a ticket. And he's scared to park on that thing and he have his business there, you know.
But that's all holding zone, that's not the parking zone.
Yeah. You get a ticket during the day. Who put a ticket on your vehicle when you park there now?
That's different, it's off peak hours.
It's off peak.
Yeah, off peak. Yeah.
That's the
one
point,
reason
but that
it's
was
off
my
peak.
biggest point. So this is stuff of this.
It stops after 6.
Besides
It doesn't stop
to
after
6,
It stops
off
after
peak.
6.
begins and ends the month when they're trying to meet their quota.
No, you see, no, but that is where it is. And ask yourself sometimes if you have to break it down and look at those accidents, I want you to bet that some of them, a lot of them, if not the majority of them, happening off peak time.
Now,
If you want to put it that way.
Why don't you open your restaurant
And 24/7.
My restaurant is first of all, it's profit guaranteed.
Okay.
It's first of all, it's profit guaranteed. Right? Police is not profit guaranteed.
No?
No, 24/7. Why aren't you opening 24/7?
No, you have peak time.
No, you have manpower.
You have off-peak time.
No, but because what's the chances of you being full between, say, 8 and 6 in the morning?
But that's true. But at the end of the day, you cannot tell me you're running a country that does not. The police is not a business, for one. And secondly, the next issue is I might close my business at 5 o'clock. Town might close their business at 5 o'clock, right? What about the night operators? What about the night operations? What about the people, the fact that the place is still busy up until midnight? Your presence at nowhere to the
Traffic frequency is lower at night time.
Traffic frequency is lower at night time, but yet still you have higher accidents in those off-peak times.
Who said that?
I wouldn't say that.
I would say that.
Where does
You
that?
would need stats to prove that. I don't believe that. Because the day when they had the accidents 11 and 12 in one day, majority of those accidents happened in the daytime.
And probably
Intensity increase at night.
Well, hold on, we have our experts there. Why are you
I say
answering?
magnetic intensity increase at night. in
Actually,
terms
she's
of
just
every
agreeing
single
with
accident.
our point.
But there's more
That's
accidents
a
during the
good
day.
thing.
There's more
We have to let her answer.
people are moving around more. It's statistics we're dealing with.
Carol, we forget we have our expert Kacy there. You know, we have
Oh,
to
yes, sorry. Go on.
accident. Like,
Well, like I was saying, we don't have statistics across the industry, so it's very hard to give, like evidence of stuff right now. We're in the process of getting the database up and going, so we'll be able to make decisions based on those statistics and based on those analytics. But right now, it's everybody just playing their personal game. So it's based on what's happening in their company, and so they increase premiums based on the amount of claims they experience, and that's why you have so much competition right now. So you would find this rate is that rate is that, and this one hasn't increased as yet, and you'd find this one went completely off the market, so no motor insurance, but these still do
GTM.
motor insurance.
Yeah,
well, I was trying not to call names, but one of our fans was asking why a particular insurance company does take so long to pay claims, and then I know for a fact that insurance company, they actually say they close in a certain division because they say it's not profitable to that same point you speak.
You've taken too much licks.
Too much licks.
Yeah,
So
they can't
that question
afford.
kind of answers it. But my question is, I driving on the road and I see some vehicles that clearly don't meet the standard for road worthiness. They blasting smoke like they want to kill mosquitoes. And poor me behind with my brand new pickup, my poor filter, I have to take pluck.
I feel the coffin.
Or I'm in a situation where a vehicle park, a truck delivering goods, the brakes fail. You could see the truck lacking maintenance and run straight into a parked vehicle. What is the regulation for the regulators who pass these vehicles? And you see these vehicles just not supposed to be on the road. The vehicles barely hang together, the chassis bend, all kind of thing. Like, we don't check for
Trucks,
these
a
things.
lot of different things.
A lot. You find that those offenses with a lot of trucks and these bigger good vehicles. So from an insurance perspective, is there any enforcement? Because to me, regulation without enforcement is just nonsense.
Yeah, so we've had situations where we have revoked the licenses for the garages but the thing is, nobody reports it. So yes, you see it and all of that, but nobody reports it. And we are heavily involved in licensing garages. So we, in conjunction with the fire service, the Ministry of Transport, and there's another one, the electrical department, Ministry of Transport Infrastructure, they would do the electrical part, and the fire department. So in conjunction with those, we do the licensing, inspections of the garages and the licensing. So we do that, and we do training and continuous assessment for those garages. But we can't go to every single garage and, pinpoint. If we identify something wrong with the inspections or the vehicles they inspect, then we can pull up this garage and say, hey, this is wrong, you need to correct that. And if they still continue, then we have a right to revoke that license. That's as far as we can
Now,
go.
here's another question. in terms of your inspection and insurances, and this is particularly for trucks, your truck has to go through the usual inspection. Like
To me, the truck was
right?
held to a higher standard
Right?
than the regular
But the
vehicles.
trailers that pull
Is
the
that
containers,
regulated?
is that regulated?
Not as we speak, and we're working to get
Because that's why I
these
see the issue on the
inspected
roads.
as well.
I've been, I'm on the road every day. I see back axles bend. I've seen trucks passing with
Sometimes the one
these certain
time
fellas go on the caca because the slicks they have on the truck.
Yeah.
You understand? I going down the road and the fella have a massive load and the thing is listing on that side because one tire missing air and the next tire bursts.
Yeah.
And flap, 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 flap.
Yes.
What time they want one that's extra stress on
You
you?
understand? I'm
You
like,
said physics?
like this,
Yes.
this coming around a corner the wrong way, the wrong gust of wind, topple over and land on a vehicle, kill a family or something like that. What happens to that? Like there's so many things that go on. Like I say, like they need to, like you say, insurance, transport board, police, everybody has to come together to say, hey, we need to sort this shit out.
A little bit.
ASAP.
Wait, question.
So
When
that's
people
fine.
get blacklisted, like,
Yeah.
that's what
what I was
asking.
coming to.
Yeah, they do.
So
So
stand across the board and like, hey, don't insure this person.
blacklisted.
Yeah, because I heard cases where people just
be blacklisted.
So
Insurance fraud.
yes, insurance fraud. Yes. Insurance fraud is the biggest reason why. And if you're a moral hazard, so meaning if you keep having accidents, if you speeding, so if you're speeding or you're driving recklessly and an insurance person sees you, they can go ahead and cancel your policy.
So what if you've been
Because you're a
driving
moral
recklessly for
hazard.
years, never had an accident?
Sorry?
What if you've been driving recklessly for years in sports cars and never had an accident?
Well, you're just
You're
lucky.
lucky.
You're
yeah,
just
because there are
lucky.
people that are that lucky, you know. Then they have some people, they have the money every time they buy a car. It's not helping their driving, and you don't see them the cars all the time. I not call their names, but I know some crash dummies.
That draws to something, right? Where do you think that there are enough, and that's kind of what you spoke about the last time with the manual and the auto, but do you think there are enough measures or enough adequate training being done when somebody is getting their license?
No.
No.
We don't think so. And again, the motor subcommittee, we have to sit with the driving schools because you cannot tell me if I go to driving school for 1 week, I can get a license. That's absurd. So we need to have some sort of consultation with them to ensure that a person gets a minimum amount of training and what that training is.
But I thought
There's nothing to enforce.
Qualify your competency. Like if I happen to be a gifted person and I pass this exam, would that qualify my competency as a driver? Because I've seen people who pass through the driving system, like you said, but you could clearly see that they need some polishing with the competency.
Right. So I think it's like a big business now where, the driving schools just want to get you off because, they probably have a whole backlog of people
But wouldn't it
waiting
make more
and
sense to keep you
stuff.
in the system longer, the driving school?
Yeah, but then you have new people coming on. So, they want to pass more people. And I feel like we need to make it more challenging for persons to get a driver's license.
make them look-
Because at the rate we're going, clearly.
So that's
Or-
the only thing, Carol.
Make them go back to manual.
Nah, seriously.
Yeah.
Because that's when you understand the true value of the vehicle.
6 months.
That's
7 months.
It's just a
because
one
they-
and
by the
done.
time they come out and they
No,
learn the
I'm not
manual,
that
you've already
right. It
honed
makes
your
it
skills.
even worse 'cause you can
Automatic.
ignore it.
Never heard
2
of
weeks, 1 month.
Yeah, and you
And they
have
out.
your license.
You understand?
And that's a big problem.
But some schools, they basically transition from manual and they fully automatic driving school.
Yeah, that's
But,
fine.
that's,
Yeah, but-
that's a market by itself.
But,
now.
what, but we put in, and I don't necessarily disagree that the driving schools need to do more. But if after a week of driving, I am able to get my license, that's less about the driving school and more about the prerequisite for the examining.
Yes, I think it's more.
Because at the end of the day, let's just see.
you have to pass.
I already
You learn from somebody else,
I learned from somebody
your dad taught you,
unofficially.
your mom taught you.
I go to a driving school. From their perspective, that means I did my theory. I passed my theory. From their perspective, I have a fair command of what it is from to pass the exam because that's the objective. That's the objective to get me to pass the exam. They see that I have what it is for me to pass the exam. The examiner goes and tests me based on what the information that he have. He asks me the questions in the vehicle, whatever. I go, I pass the exam. As far as it's concerned, I did what I was supposed to do.
But with the amount of madness happening on the road, I really think people have proper training.
My father taught me for 6 months. I did 2 weeks in driving school, and I got my license. But he taught me for 6 months on a L with my learner's permit. And then when I went, the guy's like, okay, you know how to drive. He still stretched me for 2 weeks to make sure he tests me, reverse, do this, do that. Make sure I get everything. He's like, all right, good. I'll send you for your exam. And I did it.
I got my license in 1 week because I was driving everywhere. But I mean, that's
honestly, you know,
I did my exam, and what happened? I passed, and there was a condition on my passing. So, for example, they told me, okay, you could drive, you pass, but I need you to do 2 more weeks of the driving school. And then after you complete the 2 weeks of the driving school, then you could it will okay for you to go and get your license.
What was the experience with driving school and exams? That look like a painful memory.
Well, I failed in the yard the first time, but
In the yard?
in the yard.
No way.
Listen,
Like, you didn't go on the road?
no, I didn't reach the road yet. But in hindsight, I do agree that if I had the option to learn manual as well as automatic, I would have taken it. I think that would have helped my driving a bit more. But to my point earlier, when you guys mentioned, was it last week where defensive driving happens online? How does that happen? I remember when I had to do my defense, it had to be in person. You couldn't. So how do you know
It's
if the
a
person...
video you watch.
Something like that.
and that's it.
That's not how it works.
I don't know if the
Okay,
video was-
basically the same. You remember? I think you had to do 2 sessions before, right? Of driving of defensive.
No, I don't know.
It's 2 sessions. It's 2 sessions. You have to go 2 sessions. You have to go there twice. That's what it was. It's essentially the same thing. The only thing is the instruction is virtual. That's literally it.
So
And
it's
someone literally there, and then you need to bind. You need to participate. So, for example, you have the roster who's supposed to be in the class, right? And they're going to go through it, and they're going to quiz you individual. It's basically the same thing. Sources still involved.
Where's the practical aspect to it?
No, the defensive driving, that is, right?
But what is defensive driving?
Yeah, telling you about the road. No, but defensive.
Learning is by
What is that one actually? What is defensive driving?
What is the practical aspect to it?
It's people who have made mistakes before telling you what not to do.
All right. Let me tell you one of the examples I know for sure for the digital onboarding of the driving, right? The aquaplaning thing you mentioned the last time. They go through examples of the aquaplaning in that way and they show you, and they do give you quizzes during the live, right? So it's a situation where it's supposed to be interactive. At the end of the subject or the area that you cover, each area that you cover, they go to a Q&A, right? So it has that level of interactivity in that thing. I'll give you an example of where I learned about the hash lines, they call them. You know when you're going on the Calvary, right? And you're on the Calvary, and somebody's looking to go down on the Darling Road, right? People let's come onto the white line and cross and go down.
You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to do it, but nobody ever tell you why.
Visit line of sight.
That's not why. The reason why you have to come up, for example, is because of, let's just say, one vehicle is going straight down on the Calvary and not going down that way. That vehicle never have to swing and indicate for that it's going anywhere because it's just continuing the road. But me coming up from the Calvary, going down into the Lance Road area, right? I'm thinking I'm clear to go. The vehicle that's behind that vehicle that's going down the Calvary needs to come up to the line and not cross because they will be crossing me on that intersection there. You understand? But people don't do that. People cross long before. You see where the hash lines are?
Sometimes
They don't come up to the line.
So let me ask you a question. At the top of the Calvary, right? When you're coming from the chaussee and you go to the top of the Calvary, there's a double line there.
No, that's a hard lash.
So
The hash line.
stop.
You know, you're supposed to come up past that line. That's the only way for you to swing down. But people don't do
You're
that.
talking about coming from Valley. When you come up,
Yeah, I stop.
You have to stop.
You stop. That's a hard stop.
Because whatever vehicle's coming up, they have right away. They indicated.
Listen, no, but you're not understanding what I'm telling you. The vehicle, when I stop at that line,
So then come
the
to
vehicle
the-
I see coming is going straight into town. That means now that I know it's going straight into town, I can go down. But what you have happening is that vehicle going straight into town via the Calvary, and the vehicle behind it is cutting across on the where the lines are to go down the Darling Road.
Right.
And now, if we come up as an accident, then now I am in the clear, he's in the wrong because he didn't come up past the line where he's supposed to cross.
If he was indicating properly.
It doesn't matter about his indication. He needs to come up past the line.
Come up, and then he could go down the.
You understand where you're coming from, right? So you driving.
That's my route.
You driving that line. You're supposed to come up to the line, but people don't do that. People see the moment they see the hard line, they cross, they indicate and they cross and go. But you're supposed to come up to the line. So that all that was being taught well, at least I got that lesson. When you were doing the driving, that do not drive on the hash lines. You need to come past the hash line. That doesn't mean cross. That means you need to go past the hash line because it's there for a reason. And it's not because you have right of way that you could just proceed. You need to be for you to be in the right of way, you need to be right on the road. And being right on the road is being in the right position. So you can't be taking your signal as, okay, well, I indicate I go in that way, that I have the right of way. Your right of way is beyond the hash line, not before it.
Applies for stop signs, pedestrians, and also traffic lights.
Yeah.
But my other thing, defensive driving, from my understanding now, let me tell you, I failed my driving test the first time I do it. I take long because I was definitely one of those that figure I know how to drive and they can't tell me nothing. And then playing the Need for Speed, I watch it Initial D, I double clutch, all kind of thing. I feel that it's the hottest thing on the road, boy. 19-year-olds, my first job, making money, I say, yeah, boy. But luckily, the system was able to groom me enough where they had these two invigilators. Boy, you wasn't passing them fellas, huh? I don't know if you remember them.
Famous sauce.
It was a Feskin guy, I know the guy, but they said, boy, if you get that one.
Guy, sauce.
It was a British guy, I remember.
Okay, no.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I think it was
You see, mate. You know, as hard as I think he was back then, in retrospect, I think he was doing me a favor. Because sometimes if a person being hard on you and you don't even know they're saving your life and everybody around you. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, sauce. Is into the defensive driving, it definitely opened my eyes being in the classroom. To my experience, defensive driving is just being spatially aware of your vehicle and surroundings and try to pay attention to what happening beyond that, like the pedestrians up at the roundabout and in some instances behind you. Like you see a situation where the guy ran to my back and he say, I stop. I had to stop because an emergency came in front of me and I had to make a decision. He had to leave enough space. Failure to keep a safe distance. That simply means you have to leave enough space for in case something happens. Sometimes a ball roll out in the road, a child walking into the road, a dog. Sometimes it could be your own family or relative because they have instances in Saint Lucia where that happened. And I think it's lost where pedestrians, they need to be a little more aware. You see that thing where people just walking into the road with their cell phones on? Yes, the driver have to pay attention, but you have responsibility for your own life. It shouldn't be knock me here. I used to be like that as a little youth, and I think that was just pure ignorance now looking back at it. So to me, that's defensive driving. Especially aware, look at the weather, look at the road, and just be a little mindful and give people space sometimes. Because sometimes somebody might lose control of the vehicle. What you going to do? You're going to say, oh, but I'm in my right lane. If you had just had a little space between you and them, you could have avoided an accident.
Which is what we've seen a lot in those accidents, that they can be avoided, but because people feel like, you know what, I have the right of way, then you have a collision.
Yeah.
It's defensive driving, the lack of defensive driving.
It only takes one time for them to change that mentality. When they feel they're right or whatever, and then something happens and they realize they're wrong and they pay for it, they completely change their mentality.
Yeah, no, you can be right, but see something happen before it actually happens, right, and avoid
it.
Like, why do you have to make it happen just to prove that you are right?
I want to ask the general question. Since we're talking about collisions and accidents, and I want to put it to each person on the panel, because we could be very critical after the fact of certain things, but I want to know from each person's perspective, tell me about an accident that you were involved when you were wrong. and tell me the degree of wrongness in that accident.
Because I was never in the thing that I was wrong.
So I want to start. Femi whispered first. I want Femi to tell me about the accident where she was deemed wrong and what was
Deemed wrong.
you've been in multiple accidents.
Time out. I wasn't driving in half of these accidents.
Why are you so defensive?
Because I know you coming for me.
I asked the question.
Anything driving related, just
Let me ask you.
all right.
Tell me about the incident. You were in an accident and you were deemed wrong, then the circumstances why you were deemed wrong.
I don't think I can talk about that. It's still in court. I don't think I can talk.
Okay.
Also, you were deemed wrong, but you're still in court.
No. I was not deemed wrong. I wasn't driving.
And we
But
just
anyways, let's just move on from that
we don't
because
take liability for knowing
Yeah.
the full extent of the facts.
Yeah.
That's close, by the way. If it's still active, it doesn't.
it's technically still
I
active.
know you insurer. I know you boss insurer and everything. But I know you probably end up in a threat limit too already.
Oh yeah, I did. I was coming from behind the road. That was before they built Massey City.
What?
Before they built Massey City, they demolished the building. People used to park along the side in the back there. No, Massey City, the Massey, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Massey town. Yeah, where Bandar used to be. So they demolished the building and people used to park along the sides there. So that day I was mad. I walked off the job and whatever, and I was driving out, but this man was coming from the M&C parking. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, me and red, I just can't see red, the color red. So this man had a very red van.
That's
And
been you colorblind then.
I
No,
don't know.
seriously, because that's a statistic. If red vehicles getting more accident because colorblind do those things. But anyhow, continue.
Yeah, so I was driving out of the little road and I never saw this van. I looked left, I looked right. Maybe in all my haste and anger too. I never saw the van. The next thing I know, the van in front of me. And I just like grazed the side of the van. Luckily, it wasn't anything so bad. It cost me like $300 to just like, buff the side and whatnot.
Okay.
But I can't think of another time where first of all, I haven't gotten into any accidents or anything. So, yeah.
All right. So
I remember one now, Kurt.
Slowly.
One that I can talk about where I was actually wrong.
Wow. Okay.
So I was on the block. This is in Saint Vincent, right?
Okay.
And I was hanging out. I was on the block. And then I left because I had to rush home to go get ready. Don't worry about that. I left because I had to rush home to go and get ready to go to a party. It was carnival time now, so things was nice. So yeah, I was finished. I drove off. I was rushing home, and we're going down this road. It's a road kind of small, but it wasn't out of the way small. And I was behind someone, and I thought they were indicating to go right, and I thought they were going to go out because I saw there was ample space, nobody ain't coming. They could have gone out, and they just braked hard and stopped right in front of me, and I ended up rearing them in the back. I mean, it wasn't nothing big. It was small. It was like a little $300-400 charge. I didn't even call police. I was in a rush. I said, give me a number. I know I wrong. I'll call you tomorrow and we just sort that out later. And it just went for my business. But yeah, because I knew police was going to take too long to come. So forget that.
Also, that's also have the police take long to come in Saint Vincent too. Okay. All right.
It's everywhere.
I don't want to know.
just like the movie.
I just told you that they work only the beginning and the end of the month to meet the quota, right? Okay. It's everywhere that's happening.
All right, let me hear you. I know you have some story from Trinidad. Give it to me. Go ahead.
What?
It was in the parking lot for your exam.
No. No, this actually happened. There's this. Let me say 2024, 2023. I was driving on the highway from Port of Spain, where I worked. I dozed off on the wheel, and I just hit the back of a van. It was a company vehicle. I lied and said my laptop fell on the floor. Because the front of my vehicle was like dented in, radiator mash up, and my vehicle got most of the damage. Their vehicle was dented in, but I had third-party insurance. You know, when you take your parent old vehicle, it was old. It's probably as old as me, or less than. So, you know, I learned a very expensive lesson. When I found out how much I had to pay, it was like 12,000 TT dollars. I'm like, how that happened when my vehicle take most of the damage? So I said, you know what, I decided to just get rid of that vehicle, and it was sold after that. So, yeah.
Did it make you a better driver?
Yeah, I know now to pull at the side if I need to sleep. Yeah. You know something, when you're driving, it's like zone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can be sleeping while you're.
I will go to the other guys because I know they have much more years of experience and probably some sweet accidents. So I'll go to the most experienced last. Yeah, let me start with Jason.
Well,
Most experienced.
Experience.
yeah, that's most experience with us. For me personally, I had about 6-7 vehicles. But I know for sure, you see, when I had that sports car, one thing I had in the back of my mind, if I hit the front of that will be very expensive. I can't get nothing for that in Saint Lucia there. So I made it a duty not to get into any accidents with that. But the accident where I was wrong was actually, I remember my first accident, going on in front of the waterfront, and I think a hubcap fell off somebody's vehicle coming in the opposite direction. And I watching the hubcap go across the road coming into my lane. As I track the hubcap, I see the vehicle in front of me, brake light on at a sudden stop. And I just went straight to the back of the person's vehicle. From looking at the hubcap as a new driver. And yeah, definitely I know. I would like to use the word wrong, but I could say I was liable for that situation there. So I had to be the one to definitely bear the cost. No, they don't know wrong or right. They have lied. Liable and not liable.
I was liable.
I was liable for that situation.
What's the cost of the damage?
I was responsible for that situation. I don't remember. I think in all was yeah, I think the person's vehicle was just a bumper for them. And for my car, it was the lights and the bumper. But boy, that body man was smiling. You know, young drivers really take block. Yeah?
All right, before I come to Carol. I want my behind the scenes individual to give me about one accident, not two. I don't want two from him because I know they have more than one. I want one from him where he was liable. Yeah, you were there in the background. You know this guy talking to.
There was one where I had two, right?
I know.
I had two major accidents.
Only one. Just one.
Just on one.
Just one.
I fell asleep while I was driving. I was going home and it was very late. I fell asleep, and I should have rested. I should have relaxed. I should have taken a breather, but I insisted I want to go home, and I was playing a game with myself. I said, you know what? I close my eyes for 2 seconds, I go reach there. And I close it for 2 seconds, I open it there. And I reach, I drive in. I say, 20 seconds pass. I say, let me try again. 2 seconds. And that was the last 2 seconds. That game didn't last that long.
But when you finish, you go, so I don't even.
I woke up, I woke up maybe a half second before the car went into a tree. And that was it. My chest was hurting for days. It was bad. It was bad. I could have died, but I came out, relatively unscathed. It was my fault. I should have known better.
And that was a self accident, and no other.
Yeah, nobody else was involved. It was maybe like 12 in the night. Nobody was involved. It was just me in a tree in a lonely road. And
I put that. That's the one I thought you would remember.
No, I know.
What could I speak about that story between
Him and Simone. I think this definitely need to be updated in the driving manual and the driving schools. That sleep probably right up there with alcohol when it comes
Yeah,
to
it
causes
is.
of accidents.
It is.
I definitely feel circumstances where my life was threatened by me feeling sleepy, and you have to know how to pull aside. And it should definitely be integrated into the defensive driving structure.
Now, something that I always thought that would never happen to me, because I always would excite myself if I feeling sleepy, listen to music, turn down the windows, put the music loud, something. Just that day wasn't in the cards for me for that to happen. But ever since then, I'm very wary of if I'm tired, I try and sleep, or I just try to avoid the journey altogether. I think accidents can make you a better driver. I mean, it's an accident. You didn't plan for it. Well, sometimes you don't plan for it.
Yeah.
But it can make you a better driver. It can make you a better...
And some accidents happen before you even
Get on the road. Like for me, you see when I transitioned from the sports car to the BMW, boy, that car was so comfortable. It used to put me to sleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just driving, because I was accustomed to that. You see that excitement? I could never fall asleep in that sports car. Boy, we coming from Viewford, we lit. Not on alcohol or drugs or anything. We just going up the road and yeah, we lit because the car exciting. You know, me and my friend, we just going up the road and least accidents. But you see, when I transitioned to the slower car, that's when I saw more things happening. And when I transitioned to the pickup, I see more people putting themselves in desperate situations trying to pass me with the bigger vehicles. Not knowing that fella used to drive a little sports car one time, and you reach along that corner sometimes faster than him, or I not driving slow, or when they see me sometimes I drive a Prada. Those things fast, you know. But because people have the conception in their head, it's a big vehicle, that's passing it. And they do all kind of magic to try and pass you, and they end up putting you and other people at risk.
But interestingly enough, would you surmise or observe that most times it's slow vehicles compared to faster vehicles that end up in accidents? Sports cars don't end up in accidents.
Slow vehicles going fast though.
Yeah, slow vehicles going fast.
No, I'm just telling you, slow vehicles going fast. When I say slow vehicles going fast,
one speed here. You really slow vehicles going fast. Seriously, you know people try and pass me and right off.
that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is at whatever point that person collide, that person hit, that cause the accident, they flip, they go on their back, they whatever it is. Yes, it's a slow vehicle, but they were going fast enough to flip it. They were going fast enough to do
I was just talking about like
something.
driver mentality, because sometimes, most times, somebody for a sports car is a little bit more mature in terms of driving experience. You are used to driving faster, so you put yourself to the limit more often. So you know, I have more power, that therefore I have more confidence that I can close this gap in this time, or I could take this corner. And you see that, and it goes wrong. It goes wrong for both bikers and drivers. But sometimes and just based on mechanics alone, the slower vehicles are less fitted to going faster. You have smaller brakes. You probably have cheaper tires. You have a smaller engine, so you have to do more to go faster, and it's harder for you to stop. So all these things play a part in that.
Now, what I would raise to that point is,
I find each vehicle have a comfortable speed. Definitely for my sports car.
You look like you really miss that sports car, yeah.
Don't worry about that. I would. Like 60 in a sports car might feel like 20 in a Swift. Honestly. Like it's boring inside that vehicle at 60 miles an hour. And you can stop just like if you was going 20. But I remember like another time I was at Pitch and Point with some guys. Like I have a little Subaru, a regular Legacy, nothing fancy. He watched me and he would...
I feel like some legacies might take that too.
Let them take it however they want to take it. Up there, slow faster. I don't give a shit. I used to drive for IFO. So Mitsubishi person. So the guy sees nothing better than tell me. You know, we're celebrating a friend of mine. He just get a pickup. He always dreamt of this vehicle, young guy. I honestly tried to advise the guy against buying such an expensive vehicle, but he was like, that's what I wanted. I said, okay, cool. Like, I'm like my little sports guy, like, proving nothing. The man come to me and say, I see you driving that car, you know. I feel like you're really pushing that car. You're driving that like you're afraid of it. I watch him, I say, okay, my boss. We had a plan to leave the beach, right? And meet at Rodney Bayside. We was at Pigeon Point. I went ahead of them, took my time, go there. I stand up there talking to my partner. I said, "Them fellas really taking long to come. They just have to pack up their barbecue stuff and come." My partner watched me and say, "What we waiting for?" And my partner just get this pickup and thing. He say, "Oh, what color pickup?" I say a blue. Because I see a black pickup in the drain by Rodney Bay there. I say, "What?" That's when I go outside, the same fella I talking to that just get this pickup. The same weekend he get it in the drain by Big Gardens Hotel. Trying to take his little speaker box out. I feel so sorry for the money. And the story was the same fella that was telling me how I wasn't pushing the car. Coming down the road with him, and a coaster come out of Bay Gardens Gap, not judging the speed the fella's coming with, around the corner there. He hit the coaster, spin around, and run straight into the fella with the legacy, and he ended up in the drain. And that was the end of
10 years
that.
ago.
That was about before the pandemic, 2019, 2018, somewhere around, maybe 2017, 2018.
Accident. I used to live in that area. I remember that accident.
Yeah, the coaster there, the coaster was wrong, by the way, because the coaster come out. In fact,
Accident first.
everybody had a part to play. He was coming too fast. The coaster, some of these minibus and coaster drivers, they just didn't have to stop for me. And the guy didn't have time. He just get the vehicle. He didn't know the dynamics of the vehicle. He coming around that corner. And to try and break, the most stress you can put the vehicle under is at the crest of a hill, the vehicle will get lighter. Turning and braking at the same time, never do that. The front tire is under a lot of stress, and it's the front that has really stopped the vehicle. So like everything that could play into losing control was happening to him at that time. And then his friend egging him on, drive the vehicle. My brother is a pickup you have. It's not that fast. It's supposed to carry goods. It's to go off-roading. It's not to speed on highways, even though they try and still do like that. And that was the end of him. And that was just one of many.
But you were fine. It's just the vehicle in the accident.
Yeah, I was completely out of the
I'm
accident.
talking about in terms of the person that
Boy, that definitely set me back a couple of years in his life. And the other thing we have to go into is the financial aspect of vehicle. Be aware of the insurance price. When you buy the vehicle, that's not the end. You have to leave the insurance and maintenance of the vehicle. A lot of young people, they don't take into consideration how much it really costs to keep a vehicle. And then them same people looking to write it off.
Now, before we go anywhere else,
I try and slide behind the curtain.
Not gonna happen.
Secondary school.
for years of driving, right?
And just close it one time.
See, from
Now let's talk about the finance.
98. From 98.
That's paycheck to paycheck part two.
97.
We have to bring you back for that.
Okay. Every accident I've been in, which is very few, I think 3 in my life. One was with me and a telephone pole. And it was literally escaping a dog. And I wasn't even speeding or anything. I had a Jeep. The Jeep was loaded. And then the dog ran out and he made me jump. And I swerved. And the vehicle started to... So I'm fighting with the Jeep and it's going in 2 wheels. And all I'm thinking is like, them kids that's in that vehicle there, if that flip is a problem. And then all of a sudden, when I take it in, I realized, boy, I see the pole and I was going slow enough. I just put it in the pole. But I wasn't going slow enough because I ripped the pole out of the ground.
So that's not slow.
So what's the best thing
I was going slow.
Kill it up then.
Yeah. But sometimes you can hit the animal and it still cause you a problem too.
I'm sorry, Poppy would have to go to him.
Yeah, but again,
I was just about
I was
to
a
say.
young driver, inexperienced, and it was reflex. Something jumped in the road, so you just
Reflex for you.
I know, right? Because that little coat already had zero remorse for that.
A fella's overtaking, coming down Monjiro around the corner. He hit me mid-shift, and another guy hit me from behind. And that was it. I haven't had much accidents in my life. Taking a lot of chances, but I haven't had accidents in my life.
All right. So I asked that question because, they tell you like, when you ride a bicycle, right? If you take a Guiji, if you take a fall, you're not a rider yet, right? We know that concept.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And I think to some point it kind of makes sense, because if you have not experienced a certain thing, right, your ability for you to be able to learn from that is, or learn from other people who is not necessarily there. So the reason why I was asking about the accidents is because trust me, I gotta listen to that already. I call her late already for that, So I get my experience. I got mine early. But yeah, that's besides the point. Imagine you're navigating a road that's supposed to have a clear place for you to pass, but then now you're obstructed by a parked vehicle, right? Now you have to navigate a narrow space. And you don't have the spatial awareness of what your vehicle has yet you fresh. You understand? So you're taking a chance and you think that you're doing the right thing because you're passing there. Only at the end of the day, you end up hitting another vehicle on the other side, and boom. You think that, you're free and clear because the obstruction was on your side, and you're hearing that because Mitt not supposed to be there. But you liable and not the man that was parked there. Mitt could just go on his business and leave you alone.
Yeah.
That there to me, as much as you want to put me as liable, it's unfair to that person, because now I am forced to use a road in a compromised position, and it's not compromised because they have a hole or there's some deformity or something. So you understand, where a vehicle parked on the side of the fucking road, but I'm wrong and I'm liable to pay.
Well, all of this special
Always. If it goes as far as court, there's something called contributory negligence,
Contributory negligence.
where you contributed to the loss, so you are also liable. So they'll calculate the percentage of how liable
Bad or
you-
something.
Yeah. So a parked vehicle could, and there have been cases like that where the parked vehicle was liable and they had to pay.
Oh, what about bad road potholes? Is that country?
Which goes back to the point of not accepting liability on the
Right.
spot.
Right.
You don't know. There's times when you could not be liable at all, but because you're in the wrong place at right time.
When I was just talking from that experience, in the sense that sometimes you take a chance just because of a scenario, and then you got the shot at the end of that stick. You understand? But at the end of the day, next time not to take that fucking chance. When you took that chance this instance, next time you not take that chance. Right? I remember a good friend of mine advised me, boy, no matter what, when you end up in the accident, call the police. Fucking mistake. First mistake, I end up in. Whether or not you're right or you're wrong.
Assess it.
Yeah. But like again, it was a lesson. I learned my lesson. Yeah.
But call the police. You don't have to agree with the police report. You can contest the police
you can go to
report.
court.
So even if the police report says this, they're not always right. They are not experts. They do
They are friends.
they do the report.
That too.
That's their job.
Yeah,
Take measurements, take the facts, whatever, and then you don't have to agree. People have contested and won.
So in the absence of a police report, can you still get compensated?
Yeah, they don't
Once
always.
come to agreement,
Yeah, they don't always ask for a police report. So if you have like a minor accident and both parties agree that this person was liable, then you don't need a police report.
Dash comes good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now the other end of that stick is if the matter drag in court, that person will be more liable though, because you'll have to pay my lawyer fees. You have to pay interest,
The fine.
loss,
Loss of use,
and
your
then
favorite
you have to
thing.
pay for the vehicle on top of that. So I think
Yeah.
it's in everyone's best interest to let's try and be a little more amicable. And if you're wrong, you could see, the basic rule: when you do somebody back, the person who reverse on you, you're wrong. But if you try and dodge it, just understand you might have a bigger fine to pay down the line. And in that case, would the insurance company be liable to pay out that case like that?
Yeah, that's what you have insurance for. So, in a situation where it's a clear-cut case and the insured just does not want to admit liability, the insurer will try to convince this person to accept liability
settle.
because we know you're wrong and you're just going to cost us more money. So we'll try to convince you. But if we absolutely can't convince you, then okay, then go ahead. But they will try to convince you as much as possible. Hey, this looks like you're very wrong. These are the facts. So can we just agree so that we can put this thing to a close, and then we'll tell you, well, this will cost you a lot more and all of these things.
Yeah,
So
because
can I be the secondary voice of production for just 10 seconds? You're bringing up, Jason, you're bringing up an important point, and I feel like we can talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, we have a whole topic to do on that called paycheck to paycheck part 2.
Well, on that note, the financial implications of accidents, trying and skirt around the insurance, pretending where, you have insurance or you late on it, you super late on it, or you don't have it, or you thief a sticker, or whatever it is that you do, you jam mama guy the system and you don't have it. Let's explore the financial implications of that. And you mentioned it put the person that you mentioned earlier in the scenario, it put this person back on his life because there were certain things that he could have achieved financially that he could not have done because of that accident. We have an expert who's interested in finance here. Talk about your experience or what you notice with the financial implications on maybe young men in particular, and what are the things that can be done to train them and educate them?
I think I'm an expert on that.
So, we could talk from our experience. And I will start off the segment. I'll pass it back to the panel, but I'll start off the segment by saying a very hard lesson. As a young man, we had to learn, and more of us should learn, is if you cannot buy it twice, you cannot afford it.
Facts.
I pass it to the panel.
Okay, so that brings me to the point why we understand now why insurance is important. A lot of customers argue with me, why do I have to pay third-party insurance? They argue that with me. Oh, I'm just paying insurance for somebody else. You're not paying insurance for somebody else for third-party insurance. You're paying insurance for yourself because it protects you from your negligence. So let's say you didn't have insurance at all and you were not required to have insurance at all. The law didn't require you to have insurance. You get into an accident with somebody. You write off the person's vehicle. The person have a $70,000 vehicle.
150,000 a half.
I just say 70. Let's say 30,000. If you have $30,000 in the bank, you think is somebody else you want to give it to replace their vehicle when you could just pay $1,000 and the insurance will take care of that for you? That's financial protection. So the insurance protects you from that financial setback that a lot of people take for granted and feel like, oh, why I have to pay insurance? Or it's just third-party insurance. But we know how far, what extent this just can go. If you go and paralyze somebody, you go and hit somebody and the person is paralyzed, that's a lot of money you'd have to pay out. Imagine having to pay that out of pocket because you didn't have insurance.
I've heard of scenarios, again, you don't know if there's any full truth to it, but there's someone who is wealthy and had an accident, went to court. The court asked him, well, why is your vehicle insured? And he handed them his bank statement. And he told them, why do I need to insure my vehicle and pay so much money to an insurance company when I can clearly cover anything that comes up? And he's like, that account is just specifically for my vehicles. And then his lawyer proved the point that he financially did not have to pay the insurance. And he said he'd rather pay the fine every time they stop him than go pay the insurance for the vehicles.
Well, that sounds a little, if you have that much money, why you want to?
Why would you want to pay that out when you could do something so much better with it?
He said he rather pays the fine every
Every time they stop him and there's an accident, he just pays out of pocket.
That's the dumbest shit I ever in my life, bro.
I'm not saying he's right.
No, I know. I said that's. So if the fine is $1,000 and your insurance is let's say your insurance is $5,000, and let's say they stop you 5 times in a year, and every time they stop you, you have to pay $1,000, or they impound your vehicle and you take it out of impound, whatever the hell. You rather pay that than to just pay the insurance?
I would do one better.
What the more educated people do with money is if you can afford the vehicle on a personal loan, they just take the vehicle on a personal loan and put it third party.
Yeah,
so you have the minimum coverage and you can afford, if anything out of pocket, like the sports car people, most of them, they just pay third party on it and accept loss. If you use the vehicle, that's your business. If you with somebody else have an expensive vehicle, you can at least have the insurance cover that. That would be the best situation, because I know people where they just drive in and literal a retaining wall fall on the vehicle and the insurance don't want to pay. And I can definitely see how that can rub somebody the wrong way to think you just get your new vehicle, a wall fall on your vehicle, the insurance company tell you, go to the council, go to this police. No, a brand new vehicle the person had. I tell you, that's a fact. The person had a brand new vehicle. It fell on the vehicle. The person had to end up paying the thing out of pocket. After that, you see me and not issue of insurance.
Accurate? That can happen?
Consider act of God.
Is it an act of, no, we wouldn't consider that an act of God. An act of God is like some sporadic natural thing, like, like the
Like
flash flood.
Hurricane and flash flood.
If I can say that my vehicle
hurricanes
went off
are
in a
not
flood, will I
even-
get covered?
If you're what? If your
My
vehicle,
vehicle went off in a flood, will that get covered?
most times your vehicle is protected from, but hurricane. So if you have your comprehensive vehicle, then it will say hurricane, flood, windstorm, this, that. It lists what it is. But nobody can predict of an
A
act of
routine.
God. So that's why it's what's the name of the risk? They don't cover
There's a
it.
wood for that.
Yeah.
I forget the wood.
But another question, hold on. But all new vehicles are not compulsory. It's compulsory comprehensive.
It's not compulsory.
Not all.
comprehensive.
If it's finance, then it's
Through the bank,
compulsory.
yeah. If it's financed through the bank, it has to be comprehensive, yeah. But if you
But
can
if you-
take it out of pocket,
Yeah, then you
or
don't
get
have to.
personal loans for it, then because your backing for that loan would be your liquidity. With credit unions, you can do that, or with banks, if they see you have enough money to cover.
They can.
Yeah.
But so at the end of the day, wouldn't it just be wise just to go through, why don't you kind of want just go through financing for your vehicle?
Not necessarily. Not everybody wants to do that.
And then depends on your buffer, how much money you have to pay.
Yeah. Not everybody wants to do that.
Give me the differentiation between what an agent of an insurance would be and a broker would be for a regular customer.
Okay, so an agent represents the insurance company that they're selling insurance for. The broker represents the client. So the broker work on your behalf. The agent works on behalf of the insurance company. So the broker will tell you and they will fight your case and negotiate on your behalf and everything. The agent will negotiate on behalf of the insurance company. So they will never tell you certain things because it will be against the insurance company.
Okay, but a broker's relationship with a client, is it only to get to the point of the insurance, or is it something that's a relationship that continues throughout? So, for example, I end up in an accident.
You come to your broker?
You come to your broker, and what can the broker handle in that regard?
Everything. So they can help you file your claim, so fill out all documents. They will suggest to you what you can claim for, all of these things. But if it's an agent, the agent won't tell you all of that. They'll let you claim for whatever you think you should claim for. But a broker can tell you, you can claim for medical expenses for this, that, and that based on your policy. So that's the advantage.
Would you advise in general that road users use brokers?
I don't want to advise people.
I can answer that for you. I would definitely say from my personal experience, if you go directly to the insurance company and you go to a broker, you'll probably get a better rate from a broker than an insurance company. Even if you go to the same insurance company that the broker got the quote from, you would better get the rate from the broker than the insurance company.
Yeah, and I understand that in terms of the rate of insurance. I'm talking about in terms of a relationship.
Everything. I remember the broker, that guy, rest his soul, came to my workplace and dropped my documents for me.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised. I felt, when I heard the passed away, I was definitely touched by that. And when they retire, you definitely get a better relationship with the brokers than the insurance companies themselves, which belong in a pool of lawyers.
So I'll explain, what's a common fine print clause in big policies that the Lucians normally get, they miss out on it, they screw up on?
First of all, people feel like anybody can drive your vehicle. That is not true. So you have a son, the son just got his license, he's he's 18 or something. The policy does not cover your son for accidental damage. So you will come and say, my son hit my vehicle, I come in and claim. No, sir. Your policy clearly states that this person, whoever you are allowed to drive your vehicle, must meet a certain age requirement and must have a certain amount of driving experience. So a lot of people have had to pay for their damages out of pocket because they let their child drive their vehicle.
That's the most common one.
That one is very common.
Is that even in a third party situation?
No, third party situation, the company has to pay, but the insurance company can say to you, you caused me to pay a claim I was not supposed to pay. I want my money back. And they can go as far as court to get their money from you.
So another question, who are the more responsible parties? Is it third party or the comprehensive group?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
All right.
But that's one of the things. Another one of the things that people can get is misrepresentation on your claim form, on your proposal form. So when you do the application, people can put sneaky little lies in there. So sometimes they will say, I never had an accident before, when you know you had an accident before. But they'll put that because they don't want to pay the premium and they don't want to go and get the stuff. So we've caught people on that. We've caught people who say, this person would. So anything you lie about on that form,
Can come
if they want to deny your claim, they will investigate you and they can say, well, you know what? You have a misrepresentation on your proposal form, and they deny your claim.
As a broker, I think that's our question to close because boy, we're running out of time.
3 hours.
We're not 3 hours yet, huh? We 2 hours, 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
The question I want to ask is from a broker perspective. You started off the thing saying that the insurance is a business for profit. So that means when you go into consultation for your policy, right? Whatever you read in contract based in terms of the fine print and everything, it most likely will lean to the favor of the insurer. That's how I could frame it. Huh? But with a broker, he could give you the best of the worst. Is that the scenario?
So we'll shop around and they will compare the benefits and the prices, and they will compare the whole package and you decide. So they will tell you, this is option A, this is option B, this is option C, this is better here, that is that. But for do you value price? Do you value somebody will pay your claim fast? Do you value features like, more benefits? What do you value? And then based on your value, they will say, okay, well, this one is the best one. Some people don't care about price. Some people just want, when I have a claim, I just want to get paid. I want no trouble, no hassle, nothing. Another thing to answer one of your questions is, the insurer can reduce your settlement by a lot of different little things in the policy. They can reduce your settlement.
Oh, what the hell? Yes, that's like mind-boggling to me.
Because it's in their best interest, right? Yeah.
I remember scenarios like, for example,
Offer insurance gives you.
yeah. So, like for example, you imagine you go and although I think we'll have to do that at part 2.
It's like, okay, based on what you just said, is there like a hidden
Oh, you got the mic?
a hidden rating system for all the insurance companies that we have there, like a guide for us as the customer?
Well, that's why if you want that, then you go to a broker. They would know. They would know who's the best at that, and they will ask you, what is it that you value? And based on your values, then they will place you with the right one. But if you go to an agent or an insurance company, they'll just feed you with what they have and you just take what you get. But the broker now will, look around and, shop around for you and see, okay, well, this one is the best one. And in the event of a claim, they will say, when the insurer comes and says, we're offering you that, the broker will say, I want 30 days loss of use instead of the 4 you giving me. And so the insurance company will try and say, the market agreement is this, that, and that, and even as the broker can push and say, well, I'm not going according to no market agreement. Based on precedence with this case, I want that for my customer, and you might get it, but you will not have the expertise to know that.
Yes.
And instead of paying me that amount of excess, I want this one instead because of X, Y, and Z. And they might have technicalities that you'll never understand and never know because you don't know the policy inside out like the broker knows.
As a chair, right, do insurance companies get pulled up?
Yeah, all the time. People write to the council all the time, and sometimes they make a decision. We have to pull them up on it and say, well, they have to do it.
Or else they will get their license revoked.
Not necessarily, you can't take them to court and force them to pay it.
And pay more.
And pay more than they would have had to pay initially.
Must be off in terms of.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we close, like I said, we're going to close after that. But I want to give you an incident. Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine. He was in an accident. He was not at fault in the accident, and the insurers paid the accident. But normally any loss of use is hinged onto the labor work, right? The estimate for the estimate of repair time. But then his vehicle is still not repaired. The loss of thing because the parts had to be imported and so on and so forth. A broker would have made a better deal for him in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they can negotiate and they can say, okay, well, the part took X, Y, and Z time to come. My client has been disadvantaged this whole time because of that situation. So negotiate. We can't be hard and fast because obviously you want to maintain your relationship with the insurer as well. So you're not going to go, full force on them, but, negotiate and say, meet us halfway. Let's pay him 30 days instead of the 7 days that you want to give me. Because he was disadvantaged by that and that was beyond his control.
All right. Okay. All right. So, I think we could always go more on insurance. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's wrap it up.
All right. Thank you for joining us this evening on Grown Folks Only podcast. It has been a very informative and eye-opening episode. I'd like to thank Kacy for bringing her expertise on and shedding some light on another subject that I think the public does not really have the full view on. But as always, peace.